Yes, people. Morning, morning, morning. No. Morning, 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 everybody. Sorry about that. Don't know what's been going on. The internet has been all over the place. Literally, the second I press the start button, literally, the internet collapses. I can only apologize. Terrible, terrible teething problems. Listen, we're here. It's Saturday afternoon. I hope you're all happy and healthy doing the things that you love, the people that you love doing them with. Ladies and gentlemen, let's start the show, the Spurs Talk Show. Hopefully, if the internet continues to hang around, it starts right now. Lovely touch from him though. Harry Kane, Lucas Moura, can you do something, please? Last chance, Matt Doherty! Oh, you shite! There could be from the depths of don't fuck it up now, don't fuck it up. Go win it! Let's go for chance! Stephen Bergwijn! Stephen Bergwijn's through! Win it, Stephen! Come on! Yes! He's won it! He's gonna win it! Oh my god! Oh my god! We did it! Yo, check this out. What's crack-a-lacking, people? Welcome to the Saturday show at the Spurs Talk Show. You are joined today by none other than me and my man from the Emerald Isle, the one, the only, Mr. Adam William Cahill. How you doing, Adam?
Not too bad, mate. How are you getting on?
I'm all right, mate. I'm hot.
It's a hot day over in England today. Yeah. As I was saying to you before the show, we had that yesterday. It was absolutely steaming here. I was driving out in my car for a while, just enjoying the sun. But today's a bit overcast, so you guys are getting the rays today. Oh no, Sean, have we lost you already? I have a frozen. Are you coming through? Oh my goodness, what do we do, folks? We have lost Sean yet again. I think what are we, 5 minutes in? Yeah, I am no host. I must tell you, I am no host. Certainly not in these situations. So, Shawnee, please come back. Shawnee, can we get you back in the building? I haven't even had a chance to check out Sean's Tottenham walk from this morning, so I could be here giving you my notes, my feedback, maybe some opinions on the latest transfer news. But unfortunately, it is the case that I haven't had a chance to check out that video. So here I am on my own now. Brilliant. Okay, are we still? We're still live. Oh no, Sean, please jump back in ASAP. What is the transfer news this morning, guys? Where are we? Can I get the chat up here? Anybody in the comments? I guess I'll do the nice friendly shout out to everybody that's joining us. We've got Daniel Borden, big up. Hi Sean, please. Next time if you see Savat, no, not gonna read those. Alan Sibley, big up Alan. Carl Simpson, Jimmy Costco, Rufus Roughcut, Peter Spillane, Roy Viking, Marsipalami, ELM 24Z, Paul Beatty. Welcome to the show. Welcome to the show, everybody. Sean,
Sorry.
Thank God. I was just doing the greetings while you were away.
I honestly, I don't know what I'm going to do. This Sky, I phone up Sky every day. It's like there's someone, it's honestly like there's someone who's hacked my system, right? And that knows when I stream, the second I stream, they switch it off. And the second that I phone up Sky and say something's wrong, they switch it back on again because Sky's like, there's nothing wrong. There's nothing wrong. I'm like, there is something wrong. There's always something wrong. I swear to God, every time I start to stream, it's fine until I stream. The second I stream, it cuts out. Something must be. Maybe it's the amount of bandwidth it takes that trips something. I don't know what's going on.
Are you out in the sticks, or are you in a town, or where are you? Because it's probably like regional, is it?
It's semi-sticks, semi-town. But okay. The problem is over here, right? Is that all of the broadband goes through. Like, unless you have full fiber, like that goes direct to your house, then all of the fiber that's like on the main lines, it eventually has to go down the copper wiring of the telephone lines to get to the house, which is why you get limited at like 60 megs or whatever, even though you're paying for fiber, because you get fiber all the way to the box, but then you get like the copper wiring. And around here, there's like historical issues with the copper wiring. But they are BT are putting in full fiber all the way into the road, but I don't know when it's going to happen. So I'm going to have to
It'll be a night and day difference when that happens, man.
I can't wait. Then I can get proper streamy and professional and everything. Anyway, I do apologize to everyone.
For 2 minutes panicking.
How did you get on? Did you handle it?
I was literally just saying I didn't even get a chance to watch your video this morning, so I can't even comment on the transfer news. And then I was just like, right, let's just greet everybody coming into the chat. So that's how we've done.
Yeah. Well, we're going to talk about the stuff that's in the video anyway. And let's say hello to a few people in the chat and figure out what's going on with Daniel Borden. How you doing? He says, hi, next time you see Sabat. Oh.
Yeah, that's what I avoided also.
Sava's a good guy. Sava just like we like whenever I go with Sava, we like to just take different sides of whatever the debate is and go for it. You know, it's
nice when arguments can be spicy though. Do you know what I mean? Like, what happened to being able to have those kind of conversations and just kind of roll with it rather than getting offended at every.
It's all good. I think. Well, I've learned to take it with Sava. I know it's all. It's all just like literally 10 seconds, 2 seconds. Like, as soon as it's over, he'll text me and go like, "We're cool, right?" I'm like, yeah, "Of course." So.
Oh no, Shawnee. We losing you again. Oh, this is not good. This is not good. We cannot go on like this, folks. What are we going to do? If somebody could contact the whoever it is that's getting the fiber out to Sean and get them to put a rush on it. We've got a channel to try and maintain here. It's gonna be a nightmare trying to get through a show for an hour if this is going to be a constant. Perhaps Sean, you could switch to your phone, use the old 4G, and we try and get through this somehow. Let's see. ELM. Maybe Ange will play Tanganga or Sanchez with Carter Vickers as a pair. You want to bring Carter Vickers back? You want to bring Carter Vickers back to Tottenham? Can Kuti play defensive midfield? He's on He's good on the ball. Okay, look, this is a conversation that has sprung up on a couple of occasions on various streams in the last while. I think that it's not a bad shout, especially like getting Romero out of our box is not a bad thing, considering that, like, was it 2 penalties he conceded last season? I don't think it's a bad shout getting him to play that a little bit further forward. He can carry the ball. He'd be great at winning the ball back in midfield. Absolutely, but the problem is that then that leaves us with absolutely no centre backs worth a dime at the moment. Do you know what I mean? So like, it's definitely a good shout in terms of options for him, maybe at some point in the future. But right now, if we get rid of Kuti from the defense, we have no defense. As it stands, he's not able to. It's making him look bad. You know, like the rest of the defenders are so poor. He's looking terrible as a result, and so he's not able to pull it off on his own. So what do we do then? Are we talking about bringing in 4 brand new centre backs? I mean, that's not going to happen, especially if we've got Maddison coming in, please God, in the coming weeks, and then we need a goalkeeper. There's absolutely no chance that we're going to end up bringing in 4 centre backs. Sorry, Sean, just responding to ELM talking about playing Kuti in the CDM role.
Who? Kuti?
Kuti Romero, yeah. If you play him in the CDM, there's absolutely no defenders. Like, we've got nobody. We'd have to bring in 4 brand new centre backs, which is just not going to happen.
I think we could bring in 3. Listen, I think that Kuti could be redeployed, but I don't think he will. I don't think he'll want to do it because he's got a cushy spot on the right side of the back 4 for Argentina. Mm-hmm. Yeah. And I think there's a bit more competition for places in the DM role. And I think he's an unknown entity. But I do think he's got the abilities on the ball. And I think he's, that rashness, that willingness to kind of slide in, that kind of mindset. If the player gets past me or if the ball gets past me, the player won't. I like all that kind of thing from South American players. But when you're doing it as a back 4, especially with a high line, if you get it wrong, then you're either going to get sent off, too many yellow cards, or you're going to be on the floor. And he currently is our fastest competent centre-back. And I know Sanchez is faster technically, but he's incompetent. Personally, mate, for me, Adam, I feel like I think we're going to have a clean house of centre-backs. I think we're going to get rid of Dyer. I hope we're going to get rid of Dyer, going to get rid of Sanchez, going to get rid of Rodon. I think Ben Davies will have a reprieve because he can be used in a like a utility role where he can play either be kind of in the rotation at left back for days when you want to have more aggressive Pedro Porro on the right back, for example. Before we get into anything, I just want to say, like, if this drops out again, I don't know what the hell's going on. I think because I've moved to my 4G, I'm going to try my best, guys. I can only apologize. But if it keeps dropping out, we'll try one more time, whatever. I know Adam's very competent and capable of just holding fort whilst I get reloaded, but I don't want to have a shitty experience for all of you. So let's we'll have to just play it by ear. Anyway, before we didn't really get into saying how are you, Adam? Before we get into Tottenham stuff, are you all good, mate? Are you all good?
Yeah, I'm all right at the moment, man. I'm kind of. I strangely, I didn't wake up until 11 o'clock this morning because I've literally just been up to my eyes so much these last few weeks. So working my day job, and then when I get home, then I'm immediately into making. I'm getting stuck into my film stuff. So I'm currently in the process of pre-production for my second feature film, which is the sequel to the first one. So nice. I'm literally like, it's just 24/7. I'm always doing something. And today was kind of a morning where I didn't have to leap up and get something done. So my body was just like, sleep, please, sleep. So at least I'm well rested. And yeah, there's a lot of good stuff going on. So yeah, I'm very, very happy at the moment. Like I guess when I really think about it, when I stop to think, am I okay? Yeah, I'm doing okay.
Good, mate. Good. Glad to see it. And I'll say hello to everyone in the comments. I think we got down to Alan Sibley. Jimmy Costco's in the house as well, saying, hopefully you're feeling better, Sean. Looking better. I am feeling a little bit better, mate. I'm still waiting for all the results. I was saying to Adam, I've got a gastroscopy on. Haven't heard any results from my MRIs yet. I have been told from the fibro scan that I've got like something wrong with my liver, but it's called non-alcoholic fatty liver or something like that. And basically it's like at a stage 3 level. So it can be cured. I've still got an elastic liver, which is good. It can be cured by just cutting down on sugars and fats, but that's not the, that's not like I was pretty confident that was going to be the case anyway. That's not what I'm worried about. I'm worried more about what's going on with the organs slightly above them. But we'll wait and see for what happens with the gastroscopy. I will always update you guys whenever I get some more info, but I appreciate all of your kind thoughts and well wishes. Rufus is in the house. What's happening? Rufus, good to see you, my man. Carl's in the house as well. Big up to Carly. Pete's in the house. Hi, Captain Kane. Run at 7:45 tonight. Won 2 weeks ago. Third last week. I know you like to bet, Shawnee. Big up. Where's he running though? You got to let me know. Where's Captain Kane running? I will certainly stick a cheeky 5 on if you let me know where he's at. Roy Vickens in the house saying that intro puts a smile on me every time, mate. He puts a smile on me as well, mate. It does. I miss
anybody else miss Bergwijn?
The guys. I do need to update. I need to get a better clip of a piece of commentary. But you know what? This season that's just finished, there wasn't really any moments like that. So
when we're playing handball, it's going to be a different story. Yeah.
Under handball, I thought it was going to be
just shouting like a madman, like. Yeah. Maybe it should just be that. Just there's several clips of you just losing your mind,
banging the wall. Yeah, exactly, 100%. They'll certify me, mate. Marcy Palami's in the house. Let's do a Q&A. We can certainly do that stuff. I do want to get into the super chats. I want to say hello to everybody that's in the house. Eddie's here as well. Everyone that I've just walked past, say hello, say hi to everyone. Thanks for stopping by. Frankly Tottenham with the super chat. Appreciate you, sir. Frankly Tottenham. What's happening, Frank? Good to see you, mate. Sure, I see you survived Sava's attack. I was saying, man, it wasn't an attack. It's all a bit of fun. Like in the moment, things get heated and stuff. I actually think I triggered by. It might not have been audible in the debate, but it was probably more audible on the headphones. I actually said something which I said to him afterwards. I shouldn't have. It didn't even mean to come out of my mouth the way it did. It just did, but didn't mean it. But I said to him, "You're a very smart man. You're not an idiot. Stop acting like one." So it was me that triggered him. So it was my fault that he got it out of hand. But like I say, it wasn't supposed to come out that way. Anyway, it's just a bit of fun. We roll on. There'll be another debate tomorrow, and we'll shout and scream at each other tomorrow. Then we'll kiss and make up on Sundays. It's all good. Coco's missed. They did the same thing with me on Twitch. Every time I started a stream, they disconnect. I went to Virgin Media. Yeah, I've heard horrible things about Virgin Media, though, mate. Let me know if they're any good. All right, let me.
If that helps.
What's that, mate? I'm
with Virgin Media, and it seems to be going okay. So.
Is it? Oh, really? Okay.
I can give a bit of a vote of confidence, I suppose.
Yeah, every time I look online, the customer service apparently is atrocious. But they do have their own broadband line, so completely separate to BT or OpenReach. So we might maybe have to go in that direction. But I'm waiting for their full fiber thing to be put in, and then I'll definitely make the switch. All right, let's get into it. Smash the like button for me, guys. If you haven't already, hit the subscribe as well. We're on the charge. 8,200 is around the corner now. It's insane, the growth. Adam, we're going to go through, if you haven't watched the video that I put out today, let's start with the news. First and foremost, have you seen the Daniel Levy's reaction or the comments, the answers to the questions that he was asked by the fan committee yesterday? Have you seen that?
This is the one where he was saying that he doesn't think that it's fair to say that they didn't back the managers.
Yeah. What he basically said the assertion that Tottenham haven't backed their managers is incorrect. Mm-hmm. He said actually counter that we're actually feeling the pinch or feeling the consequences of the mistakes that we've made whilst backing the manager. How do you interpret that? Do you see that? Because I think you could see it one of three ways, right? You could either see it as we have backed him and it didn't work out, therefore get ready, we're not going to back him anymore, kind of thing. Like we're going to tighten our belts. Or he's saying we did back him financially and we handed over the actual influence of where that money went to the managers or whatever, and look, it didn't work out. Or is it like, how do you, like, there's a million ways you can interpret two sentences. How do you interpret it in terms of moving forward rather than reflection?
It's just trying to get out of Stum. Like it's common knowledge that the fans are frustrated with the fact that we didn't back Poch, which that's absolutely true, and he cannot deny that. I think if he's suggesting that he backed Pochettino at the most important moment to do so, then that's a bald-faced lie. But if he's talking about backing Mourinho, backing Conte, there were large sums of money spent during that time, but it was for me, it was sporadic. I think if you look at it just in terms of pure coin, yes, a lot of money was spent, but I just don't think that's the same thing as backing a manager, especially if you're buying this expression, club signings. If you're getting club signings instead of getting the people that the manager want, I don't think that's necessarily backing them. I don't know that you can really interpret it in terms of what they're saying going forward, what they're going to do. I would find it very strange if he's saying that we've already backed the managers and that failed, therefore we're going to try something different now. I think that he, like, I don't think he's stupid enough to make a comment like that, which would incense the fans, because we know that if Ange is coming in, and we know that historically this is a guy who goes out into the Japanese market, he looks for young players, and he grows them. He's able to do amazing things with small budgets. If he's saying that he won't even give Ange money to do that, Levy will be shot by next weekend. So I just think that it's more just about covering his own ass in terms of painting a certain picture of history, rather than a comment about what the way things are going to be going forward. I think more than likely going forward, he will, if we're serious about going for Maddison, I think that does show, that's a statement of intent right there. We are going to be putting money down on the table for players that will come in and push us forward. So I don't think
we'll talk about Maddison. Yeah, let's not go into Maddison yet. I want to move that towards the transfer segment.
Sure. I just don't think that there is that you can interpret what he's saying as, we've backed managers before, so we're not going to do it now. I think he's aware that now more than ever he needs to.
Yeah, I would agree with that. Although the next thing that he said was, or maybe the previous thing that he said in the way the chronological order of the statements, but moving it forward, he then also said the reason why we selected Ange. Again, I'm paraphrasing here. I don't have the quotes in front of me, but the reason we selected Ange was because we loved how he prioritizes essentially the same things that we deem as important. One of them is playing attractive football, and the other is prioritizing the academy, right? Which to me is like, there's two things. First and foremost, like, if that's the philosophy now, then great, right? Like, I want to see attractive football. If we now have pivoted 180 towards Ange, and then this is now the system, like, we can pivot and tweak the way that attractive football is represented. But if he is now the new baseline, and going forward over the next 20 years or 10 years or whatever, every new manager that comes in will be doing the same thing, then that's great, because that is what you need to do in order to get a successful academy. If academy players are coming in and are just thrown into just develop them as a player, like, don't develop them the Tottenham way, just develop them as a player, then it makes it more and more difficult for them to necessarily have the skill set to come in and impact the first team, right? Because the first team is a certain way and we're developing players in just a general kind of template. What I would like to see is Tottenham develop the academy players to fit the role of the first team. That's what Barcelona do. That's what Dortmund do. That's what Leipzig have done. That's what Porto do. That's what Benfica do. What Sporting do. Everyone that's got a successful youth setup, they develop their players to fit the system of the football at the club at the highest level. But the football at the club at the highest level is always consistent. It might, like I say, it might have nuance and tweaks depending on the coach, but generally speaking, it plays a similar way. Same with Atletico Madrid, right? They have a very pragmatic style, but it's consistent. Same with Italian clubs, much more sort of defense. There's structure to it. With Tottenham pivoting left and right from Poch to Conte to Nuno to Mourinho, whatever, the wrong order, but you take my point. And now going 180 again, like it doesn't surprise me that the academy struggles to develop players. But if he's now pivoting to, if he's saying that we've picked him because he shares the same principles as we do, first and foremost, is that a good thing? But secondly, what was the last 4 years about then? Because
I think the last 4 years was seeing the shiny thing. It's like, we got to a Champions League final. We saw ourselves climbing from a mid-table team to a top 6 team, and it was a case of, okay, we're at this point now. Let's get a win now manager and finally get some trophies into the cabinet. And I think it was literally just like, let's abandon the philosophy of the club and let's just get the guy, the really, really shiny thing that's going to come in and do something for us immediately, forgetting that the philosophy is actually the fundamental foundational part of the whole process. And that was what got us to the stage where we ended up having a manager in like Pochettino, who was able to take the youth academy players like Harry Kane, like Dele Alli, and make them absolutely phenomenal, on the pitch, and be the fulcrum of everything. And so I do think it is. If we look at it objectively, Postecoglou is a Tottenham manager. let's be fair. Like in terms of historically,
Yeah.
not in within the last 4 whatever years. Historically, we want managers that play front foot football. We're meant to be an exciting team. We're meant to be a team that has that plays enjoyable football on the front foot, and that's what we're going to go back to now. I think it's just like those last 2 managers were an anomaly based on the fact that maybe it was Levy kind of getting too big for his boots, and he went, right, we can go in for a high-class manager now. We can attract a high-class manager because we did get into a Champions League final. It looks like we could push on and do something great. And we went completely the other way because ultimately the philosophy is foundational. And obviously you're bringing in 2 separate managers who think defensively instead of offensively. It completely buckles everything. And it's the same, like you said this, I think, a couple of months ago, when you have the philosophy as the thing that's not changeable, then it means that when you bring in new players that fit the philosophy, when those players, if they rise up the ranks and they decide they want to go somewhere else, Harry Kane goes to Real Madrid, for example, we can bring in somebody else with the exact same philosophy who can fit right in.
Makes everything easier.
Yeah, whether it's the manager, whether it's the chairman, even whether it's the players, whether it's the tea lady, as long as they're all coming from, they're like Simon Sinek has a book, Start With Why. Yeah. So
exactly.
What you believe must be at the center of everything, and then you 100%. Build above that. Once what you believe is shaky, nobody knows what they're doing. Nobody knows. 100%. And Harry Kane said the same thing in terms of like there was a spirit of that the team used to have that we doesn't have anymore, and we need to get that back. And he's talking about the exact same thing. It's the philosophy of the club. We need to go back to training the academy and playing exciting football. That has to be number one, and then we'll see everything start clicking into place again.
The amount of wasted money. Like you could point to potentially, you could still point to the 2 of the last 3 signings we've made, right? Destiny Udogie and Pedro Porro. Superb players. How they're going to fit into a back 4 system under Postecoglou, I don't know. I think that we know that Pedro Porro has the stones to play more as the right winger, right? Like the kind of to compete with Decky. And we'll talk about Decky because it's also not clear. There's news out today. We might not even want to make permanent his deal, but we'll talk about him in a moment. But you could see the transition for him. With Destiny Udogie, I'm not sure, unless people are very familiar with Udinese. I watch a little bit of it, but not. I wouldn't say I'm anywhere near confident enough to make a statement here. But I don't know if he's good enough defensively to play in the back 4. And I don't know if he's good enough or that kind of player that would compete with Sonny. But everyone's looking forward to Destiny. But that is the consequences of pivoting from a back 3 to a back 4 system. And with 2 completely different, go from pragmatic to progressive and a standoffish to a high press, high line. We now have, again, square pegs, round holes. If Tottenham from now on, like you say, you have that foundation block of what is the philosophy, what is the style of play. And if you then make every manager that comes in follow that same suit and you train up the academy, you then have far less waste because you won't be having to move players on because whilst they're good talents, they just don't fit the next manager's system because you know the next manager is going to be very similar, albeit with just a little kind of nuanced differences to the previous one. And that, to me, the amount of efficiencies, the amount of cost savings. Daniel Levy's an accountant. He should see the benefits of philosophical implementation, not just as it appeasing the fan base, but from a financial perspective, the amount of slippage in poor decisions would be reduced by, whatever, 50, 60, 70%, because you're buying for a philosophy that won't change whilst the players and the parts will move, the building blocks won't. And I think it's so important. And I hope that this guy is the very first of a long line. If this one doesn't work out, a horrible situation, Adam, where, he loses 4 of his first 5 games, like or whatever, we go through a Nuno period where it'll be different because the football will be good, but let's just say it doesn't work and he gets found out and the Tottenham fans throw their toys out of the pram and the heat is on. If Daniel Levy then is forced to make a change in the next 18 months and we pivot violently back again to another, where do we go? You know what? I don't really want to dig into the negative consequences of what happens if we fail. I don't want to get there because I want to stay positive. But do you understand? Are you in agreement with me generally?
The thing I would say on that, though, is just with respect to Levy, I think that for all of the things that we can complain about Levy and the mistakes he's made, I think that he's capable of learning from his mistakes, and he's made such big ones in the last couple of years. I think that the chances of him doing that exact same thing again, it's an anomaly. he saw the chance of bringing in Jose Mourinho, who he thought was a serial winner, who was going to come in and get us trophies with the players that we had instead of having to back Poch, right? He was trying to make a financial decision, and he was trying to go for glory in a sense. Do you know what I mean? He's made that mistake. He made the mistake again of going, okay, let's pivot to Conte, another serial winner. Maybe I backed the wrong serial winner. Now we can see him going to Postecoglou means that he's not following that same mindset anymore, and hopefully a business savvy man like him is not going to make that mistake again. If we're heading back to the proper philosophical direction to play the kind of football that we want to play, hopefully it's not going to be a case of, okay, Postecoglou is going down, let's go get another shiny thing. It's going to have to be just find the right manager, but maintaining that philosophy. And the fact that he's had to give Postecoglou a 4-year contract, we were all expecting a 2-year contract with a 1-year extension, and he got a 4-year contract. I think that is a statement that
positive, isn't it?
Yeah, we're gonna whatever happens, we've realized we've messed up. There's a possibility of either he comes in and he hits the ground running, or he comes in and he needs some time, and we're going to be a mid-table team for a couple of years. And regardless of the way that the fans respond, Levy needs to back the courage of his convictions in that sense and go, right, no, I made the mistake. I need to course correct. It might take a couple of years to fix this, but we need to back a manager who has our philosophy, and Ange Postecoglou is it. On your point with regards to square pegs and round holes, I think that one of the things that we have to remember about Ange is, we had a problem with Conte because he was so rigid in his system and he wanted everyone to play to his system and he wasn't willing to be innovative. Whereas Ange Postecoglou, everywhere he's gone, people have said this guy is an innovator. If you watch his his biographical documentary, he talks about the fact that he wanted to bring innovation into management. He quit playing football in his 20s because the management position is where he set his sights, and his whole philosophy was, I wanted to go in and with the exact same model that we like at Tottenham, which is like front foot, exciting football. He wants to play exciting football, but he really, really wants to win. He's he so intensely wants to win. He's like, I want to bring innovation to and bring some new ideas into the game so that I am ahead of the curve, so that I am beating teams that I possibly shouldn't be capable of beating.
Whilst that's brilliant, I think when it comes to tactics though, I think he's very much a plan A. If plan A doesn't work, we figure out plan B is to do plan A better.
I think plan A is innovation though. Plan A is it's not like he brings in a plan A and he says, this is the way that we're going to set things up based on what I've got in front of me. The new plan is plan A, but then he will maintain with plan A consistently going forward. He won't switch. Innovation doesn't mean, change the plan, change tactics every time something's going wrong. He will bring in a specific tactic for what we've got at Tottenham, and then he will stick with that by hook or by crook, because he will believe and back himself in terms of, this is the way I think that I can play with this team. And we talked about the potentiality of Pedro Porro, for example, moving up and displacing Kulusevski as a right winger, because he has much better attacking attributes than he does defensive attributes, which means that for now it's Emerson Royal playing behind him, Destiny Udogie playing out on the left, and giving that opportunity to progress while the team almost does switch to a back three, because Emerson will move in as the two centre backs move to the left. So and then you can do, as you said, you could potentially do the same thing the other way around. If Pedro Porro was to play on the right side, and you had somebody, let's say you bring in someone like Nkapia, who can play as a left back, and then we also have another, whether it's Max Kilman or whoever it is, those guys can move to the right while Pedro Porro darts forward. And you mentioned Kulusevski might not even get a new contract now, and I can understand why with Ange Postecoglou taking over, why Kulusevski might not get that chance, because he's not fast, and he is very strong, and Ange likes really strong and quick players. Kulusevski is a really, really strong guy. He's much stronger than he looks, but he's not quick. So he's got no pace. He's got no pace. I've seen him drop into third gear probably 3 times, but I think he doesn't trust his hamstring as well. So you might be right. I think we'll talk about that in a moment, because it is part of the news story to bring up.
Hi, Sava. How you doing, mate? Good to see you. Just before I bring you in, buddy, I'm just going to get through a couple of super chats. Moondog just saying good afternoon, lads. Good afternoon, Moondog. Good to see you, mate. And also, thank you for the super chat. And also, frankly, Tottenham, where are you? I've just seen you a minute ago. He's come in with one as well. Big up, mate, saying, Sean, would you make Porro a right winger and Brian Gill, I think that is, his backup, and not sign Lulu, not sign Kulu, and use that money elsewhere? Well, look, yeah, we were just talking about Kulu. For me personally, like I think maybe part of the stumbling block is not so much whether, well, who knows? I'm inferring here, but I think that from what I've read, that Tottenham are just trying to take advantage of Juventus's financial situation and are trying to haggle on like 3 million. We don't want it, like they want 25. We'd rather pay 21.5 or something, which, like, I know 3.5 million is a lot of money to us, but in the world of football, it's really not. So I don't know. We'll figure that one out. I'll come to Sav on this one, mate. What are your thoughts on all three of these? Porro to be our main right winger, fuck Kulu off, and ask Brian Hill to be a part of the squad on the right hand side. You know, from what Frankie's asking.
I'm good. I've just been setting up. I've got a barbecue at 2:00, so just been setting up. It's like 5 hours to set up for a barbecue. Like it's just mad. It's mad. Literally, I thought it was just cooking food. But yeah, look, big up, lads. Hope you're both well. Henry Hill might be what Jose was referring to about Dele Alli. Like it might have been his brother. So it might be Brian Hill's stronger, quicker brother. Look, I would make Porro, if that's the way he's going to play. I think. Look, we caveat all of this, Sean, with how does Postecoglou want to play, right? I think we, as fans, we talk about, I'd buy him and him and him and him and him. But if it doesn't fit in with what Postecoglou wants, then I don't want it, right? We need to back this guy. I would, though, if that was going to be the case, I would have him as our right-sided forward, so to speak. I don't think he can defend at all. I don't think he's got it. I think it will be, unless you get that monster defensive midfielder that we've been talking about, Sean, that allows both him and Adoji to go that way. I think you're going to be looking at a lot more pain at the back, as much as we might be good to watch going forward if you've got those two. Brian Hill, for me, I don't know. Brian Hill, technically a solid player, right? Technically, he's very good. But I think if you buy Brian
as well.
Yeah. I think the problem is when we bought him, we literally bought him with no plan for him. We literally bought him because, Brian Hill's a good player. So again, does he fit into the plan? Maybe he comes back and he gets a tune out of him in I don't know whether on the left or behind the strikers. I don't know. And the other one was Kulu going, right? Yeah. You know my feelings on this, Sean. I'm not bothered either way if Kulu signs or if he doesn't. I don't think he's this great player that everyone thinks he is. I think technically, again, a very good player. I think like what Adam just said, I think, he's very strong. For me, is Postecoglou going to like his lack of ability to get around the park and his and lack of pace? I don't know. I think that with proper scouting, you can find more effective players. I didn't say better player, more effective players for pressing, for pace, for counterattacks. But hey, if he buys him, he buys him. If he doesn't, he doesn't. I won't lose sleep either way, mate. I'm not, you know me. I'm not his biggest fan. I don't hate him. He's all right for me.
So one of the stories that were out today was David Raya. Obviously, Tottenham and Man United are fighting, are kind of in the pole position to fight for them. I think both clubs have said he's not worth 40 million. Manchester United have turned their attention to Diego Costa of Porto fame. 23 years old, 75 million euro release clause. I think he's world class, or will be very soon. But I don't think Tottenham are going to drop that much money, which I guess leaves Tottenham in the pole position for David Raya, although Aston Villa are also maybe sniffing around in the case where Emiliano Martinez goes. But one of the stories that came out today was, should we fail for Tottenham's in the search for David Raya, we might turn our attention to Yassine Bounou, the Moroccan international goalkeeper who plays for Seville. Now,
I loved that guy in the World Cup. Absolutely loved him in the World Cup.
Yeah, in the penalty shootout, I think it was against Spain when he kept out every one of their penalties to get them through to the quarterfinals or semi-finals. I forget now. But brilliant shot stopper, brilliant, very intelligent guy, very likable guy, very agile.
He's something like 31 though, isn't he? Like he's an older,
yeah,
he's older than David Raya.
32 years old.
32.
So only 4 years younger than Lloris. But the story is that Seville would want a player plus cash, right? So maybe the story is we send Brian Hill back there and we end up giving Seville more money. How much money are we giving these guys to get nothing back? If we don't get David Raya, what
Oh, have we lost Shawnee?
Superb. Do you reckon the question was, if we don't get David Raya, who should we go for?
I do believe.
I reckon it was that way.
Where that was going. What are your thoughts, Evan? Like, have you got a goalkeeper of choice?
I mean, look, Raya seems the obvious choice, right? I don't think he's that big a name that will be fighting with loads of clubs for him, but he's solid enough and got Premier League experience. I've got no issue with bringing a 31-year-old goalkeeper if there's a succession plan 4 years down the line. And as we know, Spurs historically haven't been very good with the succession planning. But yeah, something's got to happen there. Do you think more clubs will come in for Raya than Spurs though? Do you think it will be a bit of a fight if we go through?
I think 40 million is that kind of, because like he's not so seasoned that like a lot of people are going to be looking at it and thinking, yeah, 40 million is a bargain. Like at the end of the day, I think he's brilliant and I think he's worth the money, but I'm not sure how many clubs are going to be looking at him and going, I want to spend 40 million. Tottenham certainly can though. Like, you know, we know full well that we're in one of the richest clubs in the world. For all of our lack of ambition and our lack of trophies, we are crazy rich. And so I don't see any, like, it drives me mental when we're talking about figures. But other teams, Villa's is quite a wealthy club, so I can see Villa going in for him. In fairness, especially if they're going to lose Martinez. But yeah, how many clubs will come in for him? I don't know. At that price tag, I can't see us having too many suitors that we'll have to fight off. To be fair,
yeah,
but David Raya,
interesting.
Yeah, I think David Raya will be Tottenham's next goalkeeper. I think all the noise points that direction personally. And I think he fits us absolutely to a T. His ability to play the sweeper role, distribution from both feet is spectacular. He's calm under pressure. I think he probably saves us. Well, if you allocate 12, 15 points that we lost last season to Hugo Lloris, or at least Hugo Lloris and Eric Dyer, then worth every penny. Sava, what are your thoughts on David Raya? You like him?
Yeah, I was just saying, you know, while you were putting another pound in the meter, it makes sense, right? It's a sensible signing. It's not one that makes everyone go, oh my God, but it's one that you go, I trust this guy in goal for the next 4, 5, 6 years. You do trust him, right? I think the bigger question will be, if somebody does gazump us for David Raya, where do we go after that?
There's news coming out again about our interest in Robert Sanchez from Brighton. I don't know if that's going to excite anybody, but like I always thought he was a very, very good keeper, but he doesn't excite me the way David Raya does. So I'll be disappointed because we've now been given that as an option.
Yeah, didn't he lose his? I might be wrong here.
He lost his spot, didn't he?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. Didn't he lose his spot to Still? Right. If he did, that worries me. And it's not that Still's not a good goalkeeper, but you know, top keepers don't lose their spot. It'd be a bit underwhelming for me. It'd be a little bit like when we signed Galini. Galini lost his spot in the team at Atalanta, and then we bought him or took him on loan. It was lots of people do like the guy that somebody's just mentioned, by the way, in the chat, which is I'm going to butcher his name. Mamadashvili, lots of people like this guy. Jordan Pickford, someone's mentioned. I kind of see it. I can see this being a Tottenham signing. Jordan Pickford. I agree.
You definitely could see it being a Tottenham. That was such a Spursy move. Like seriously,
you're right. That is a typically Spursy sign. That is such a Spursy signing. That one. He's 100% Spursy signing.
Yeah. But one thing for sure, Sean, it's got to be sorted, right? You know, for me, I think, Jesus, how many accounts about Henry Wright are there? Henry Fright TV. I think that there's got to be someone put in that is for the long term now, because as well as Lloris has done for us, I think we've had him 2 years too long now. And I think if we weren't a club that have had so much to do, not saying we've done a lot of it, but if we weren't a club that had so much to do, Lloris would have been replaced by most other clubs years ago, right? So
he's almost spoiled his reputation now, hasn't he? Like between the absolute howlers he's had and then the behavior at the Newcastle game, I just think it's
when your number 2 comes in and does better than you, I think it's time for your for your boots to be hung up. But look, I'm sure he'll get a move. He'll get a move somewhere. I mean, like if I was Hugo Lloris, I'd be getting touted about around Saudi Arabia and Qatar and seeing if I could get a payday.
It's the amount of money that is getting splashed by the Saudi Arabians on free transfers. It's insane. It's absolutely insane. You know, but I also don't know why they have to go so far. Like when you go, like if you're offering someone 2 million a week or 1 million a week, like you could offer them half of that, and most people would still go because they're not getting that much money anywhere else. Why do you need to go to the point of it's obscene? Like it's almost insulting. They go, yeah, what do you want? 2 million? How about 3 million a week? All right, we'll just do that for you. It's madness. It's beyond madness. But look, it's their money.
Do you know what? That's what I really like about Messi. Listen, I'm not saying Lionel Messi's got any money worries in any way, shape, or form. I'm sure he's a very wealthy man, but he turned down like what was it, 1.5 billion for 2 years or whatever it was. Like, I like that he's gone out to America. I'm sure he's getting paid some good money there as well. But I like that he did
sometimes it's not a money thing. It's like, would you rather go live in Miami or in the Middle East? Like those were his options.
Yeah.
I'd probably live in the Middle East over living in Ireland, to be honest. But Miami is like, yes, please.
Yeah. It's gonna be interesting. It is gonna be interesting to see what happens there. Everyone's going, aren't they? I think Wilf Zaha. There's talks of Riyad Mahrez in talks with clubs. Do
you think they're ever going to have a competitive league? Like, do you think it will ever be watchable on TV? Or is it just a place where good players, old players go to get wealthy at the end of their career?
I feel like it will be the end of people's career. Listen, I suppose it depends, doesn't it, what type of footballer you are. If you are a top player, at what point do you make the decision to go to a league like that? If it is at 25, 26, 27, 28, I question that person's mentality, right? Because you have a short career. You want to go, like we saw it with players like Hulk. Remember Hulk did it, didn't he? Oh God,
Samuel Eto'o did it as well.
Yeah,
Eto'o went out to Russia and got paid. Like back in the day, it was like 400 grand a week, which was obscene at the time.
Who's the guy at Chelsea? Oscar at Chelsea. He was like 23, 24, and then went to one of these countries where you're like, oh, dude, don't do that. Like, come on, join a top European club and set the world alight. But it is what it is.
Yeah. I do wonder though. Like, a lot of people are saying that it's going to be that like that league over there is going to end up being the new Super League. But I mean, as long as they're only bringing in the likes of Messi and Ronaldo and the players that we know that they're at the end of their career, then it's more like the League of Legends than the Super League. You know what I mean? If that's what it turned out to be, then great, that's awesome. But like if they start poaching players in their 20s, then yeah, it's going to be madness.
How long will it be, guys? Do you think until the Qataris and the Saudi Arabians start trying to create a way where their teams are allowed into like Champions Leagues or create their own little mini league over here? Do you know what I mean? Because they'll go, right, £1 billion and we'll have a little top 10 teams in the world compete once a month or something. I don't know.
Yeah. It all comes down to money at the end of the day. As much as we all think that we're, on the moral high ground, or we all think that we're beyond reproach for certain things. At the end of the day, you pay enough money, you get what you want. Look what happens with the Glazers, right? The Glazers are like that kind of takeover story. Round 1 was supposed to be the end of it. Then it was round 2. Then it was round 3. Now I think they're at round 5. The round 5 of the bidding, and it's because the Glazers are just like Ineos comes in and bids more, and then the Qataris are going, No. I want this club. Like, I'm sorry. I didn't bid as much for the last round, but let's open up another round. And the Glazers are like, all right, then we'll go again next round. And now I don't know what's going to happen with the Man United takeover bid. It's bonkers, but
it might end up being good. It might end up being good for us in one sense, though, that like if the preseason tours ended up happening over there, and we ended up getting paid really good money to do a preseason tour in the Emirates before every season, like, you know, we're just kind of just getting our players warmed up. Imagine Postecoglou got to bring Tottenham over there for a few games, play against Ronaldo's whatever bloody well. I don't even remember the name of the team that he plays for. But like, you know, if they paid us good money to go over and give their audience, something to enjoy, then there could be a way of filling the coffers before the transfer window ends.
Don't put it past Daniel Levy to buy a Saudi Arabian or Qatari player just so that he can he can do what he's done with Son in Asia. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah. 100%.
I'll tell you what, though, the way they defended in that first game where they beat Argentina in the World Cup, give me that back four. Give me that back four.
They were excellent. They were excellent in that World Cup. I thought I was very impressed.
Yeah, they just had monsters at the back as well, didn't they? Like, they were all like, I'm sure they weren't, but it felt like they were all about 6'6". Like, it was like Menvy boys, but mate, it's definitely going to be interesting. Definitely going to be interesting to see how that all plays out. And one thing's for sure, to loop this back, we definitely need a new goalkeeper, right? It can't be Forster going into the new season.
I would rank it, for me, it's David Raya, Mamardashvili, and then Bono. I would like that. That would be my order of preference.
Who's the third one?
Bono. Yassine Bono.
The Moroccan. Yeah, the guy I was just talking about.
Did you think he meant Bono from U2? Like, he can play in goal at 3:00, and then at 7:00 he's got a concert going on. Do you know what I mean? Two birds in one stone.
Play in the stadium, 100%. Yeah, nice one. All right, so listen, I think we're going to move on from the goalkeeper. It looks like there's going to be action there. Something's happening. I really hope it is David Raya. There's 450 of you in the house, guys. It's amazing for a ridiculously hot Saturday afternoon. What are you doing? Please smash the like button on the video. Hit the subscribe if you haven't already. And also hit the subscribe on Football Heritage TV. I'll be putting the link in a minute. And Adam, you're at Wildstag Media, of course, on Twitter, right? And Instagram. So make sure you go over there and subscribe.
All the social media machines. Yeah.
Social media stuff is always worth going and checking out. Right, guys, moving up the pitch to the defender spot. We have some news out today. The player we've spoken about on this channel for some time now, Victor Nelson, Galatasaray centre-back, right-footed, right-sided centre-back, or can play in the middle of a back three. I've never seen a guy on the Y-Scout tool that can have such a consistent amount of long balls that are accurate. Every single one of them. You have to go 20 down on a chronological list of clips to see him make a mistake. I've never seen anybody have that level of success with his long balls. And he's a little bit rash. He likes to jump in. So he's a kind of a very similar, I guess-ish player to Romero. 21 million euros is the minimum fee release clause. I think we have bid 15 million, so far been rejected. Arsenal are now entering the frame to get him. He's not going to be the guy who's going to be playing alongside Romero. He'd be, in all likelihood, the guy who would be rotated with Romero if there's injuries or form. Victor Nelson. Danish international. Really class player. Do you guys have any thoughts on him, or do you know much about him, or done any research on him?
I've seen bits of him. I don't want to sit here and lie and say that I know the ins and outs of this guy. Look, for me, I think what this comes down to is if we are going to play a back four, which it looks like Postecoglou always does, then it's who's going to play with Romero, right? For me, all I need to know is if a bloke comes in that plays alongside Romero, he's got to have completely different qualities to Romero. He's got to be calm. He's got to be level-headed. He's got to not be rash, because my worry is if you stick a player who's rash in and alongside Romero, that there's no steadying influence anywhere in that back four. I've not seen enough of him. I can't sit here and say he is that guy, isn't that guy.
I don't think he is that guy, to be entirely honest. Well, this guy, I don't think he will be playing on the left, right? He's very much right-footed, very much a right-sided centre-back. So I don't think I think he'd be coming in to replace Davinson Sanchez, essentially, right? He'd be the backup for Romero. But talented, right? But I don't know if he's fast enough to really play. I mean, he does play a high line with Galatasaray, but at Galatasaray, they have so much possession, they're very rarely, caught out. So I don't know if he naturally has all the pace. And I definitely would agree with you, Sav, with regards the composure. From what I've seen of Victor Nelson, he's also very happy to slide in and be on his backside a lot of the time.
Yeah.
And that to me is obviously a worry, right?
I've just put it on in the background on quiet. I've got Always Dangerous, got a YouTube segment of him. Again, what you said is bang on. He seems to have a wonderful range of passing. Then again, Romero's isn't too shabby. But they're also showing a few clips of the guy just diving in. And I think for me, everyone knows my feelings on Romero. I think you've got to give this guy somebody that complements him. Otherwise, you're going to be looking at a lot of games where there's a lot of suspensions between the two. But listen, I think the fact is, we talk about needing one centre back. Even if we play a back two, Sean, for me, I still think we need to buy 2 or 3 centre backs.
I think we need 3.
Yeah,
I think we need 3. Get rid of it. Get rid of Joe Rodon. If you can get 2 or 3 million quid for him, just chalk that one up as a failed entity. We need to obviously tear up Davinson Sanchez or send him abroad. Get whatever you can for him, but don't mess around and hold on and wait all summer to get 5 million quid. It's again, this story that's coming out regarding haggling over 3 million for Victor Nelson, haggling over a few million for Dejan Kulusevski. All of these little I know they all add up, right? But at the same time, there's an opportunity cost. If you're not you need to get these players out the door, make room for the next ones coming in, and a couple of million here, a couple of million there isn't that big of a deal at the end of the day. So get rid of Sanchez, get rid of Rodon, and get rid of Dyer.
With the money we're spending, we're hoping Maddison comes through, David Raya comes through, right? And with that being the case, then how much money have you got left to bring in 3 centre-backs? And if we're bringing in 3, the most important one at the moment is the left-sided centre-back, because obviously Romero is our first choice right side. So if you're bringing in a second right-sided centre-back, is Victor Nelson not kind of too good for I know ideally you want to have a Man City situation where every single time you replace a player, you're bringing in someone of equal quality, but we're obviously not there yet. So is Victor Nelson not going to come in and is he not the kind of player that's going to want to be a starter rather than playing second fiddle to Romero? And are we not? And given again, it's the money thing as well. I know he's not all that expensive given how good he is, but if when we're spending money on an attacking midfielder and a goalkeeper, that's going to be good money. You're talking 50 million or something like that for Maddison and 30 to 40 million for Raya, depending on how much we can get it down. Then bringing in a right-sided centre back that's going to be playing second fiddle to Romero all season. Would it not be more sensible to go after someone? And you might slate me for this opinion, but someone like a Bella Kotchap from Southampton is going to cost nothing, but is actually.
I love Bella Kotchap. I think Bella Kotchap is excellent, and not just on the eye test. I think he's brilliant on the eye test. He's super young as well. You could have him for the next 7-8 years if he carries on with his growth.
Yeah, absolutely.
But using the Y-Scout tool, when you start to dial up all of the filters on all of the things that are necessary from a centre-back, and you go from 5,000 centre-backs in world football, and you start to get down, as you move up the needle, all of the bad and average players disappear. Bella Kotchap is left at the very, the last 10, when you start dialing it up, are players like Gvardiol, players like Schlotterbeck, and players over the last 365 days anyway,
Victor Nelson.
Bella Kotchap is always there. So is Ndicka, and so is that fella Lou Caber from France, from Lyon, who's also a young player. So,
but Bella Kotchap, again, he's currently still signed for a team that's gone into the championship, and so I can't imagine that it's not going to cost you're talking south of 20 million, right? Realistically, I'd imagine, considering that he's not going to command big wages when he's in the team that got relegated. So if we bring him in, and he's not even he's an excellent quality player that isn't even going to be our first team right-sided centre back, it means that you are adding that the quality cheaply, and I'm sure he'd be more than happy to join Spurs considering where he's at the moment.
I agree with you 100%, Adam. I think Bella Kotchap is a no-brainer. A very good athlete as well. When I've watched him play, he looks a good age. He looks physical, got power, got pace. Unfortunately, part of a Southampton team that, as Henry and I said the other day, we went to the first game together I think I met you, Alex, afterwards, actually, in the pub. I went to the first game against Southampton, and we literally sat there and said, these are in trouble. They've got nothing, like, in terms of all over the park. They've got nothing that's going to keep them up. But we were so impressed with Bella Kotchap. You're right. I reckon if you can get a player like that for 15, 20 million, maybe tempt them with someone else going the other way. I don't know. Like, maybe give them
Harry Winks.
A Harry Winks, a Papa Sarr on loan. I don't know. You know, just sweeten the deal somehow. But yeah, him and Lavia would be lovely signings. But the defensive situation is really interesting, guys, because I don't think it's that difficult at all. I know, like, it's difficult to sign players, but I don't think it's that difficult to improve on the awful defenders that we've got at the moment.
So true.
Yeah, you know, I really don't think it needs the best scouts in world football to go, oh, let's find players better than Longley, Davis, Dyer, Sanchez, Roden. Do you know what I mean?
They're still talking about giving Longley a contract, though. I don't understand that. Like, he's not. He's so slow. He's not going to work in a Postecoglou.
That's part of the argument, though. And I'll welcome Alex in a second. But just to counter what you were saying, I agree with what you're saying, Alex. Adam, by the way, about, like, how much budget have we got to absorb 20 million of it on a kind of backup right back to Romero? I take the point. Money doesn't grow on trees. Maybe the reason why we're looking at Longley, the rumours are today that Barcelona are willing to let him go for just 5 or 6 million, because we'll end up saving them 30 million on wages, because he's tied into a ridiculously big contract over there. I don't think he fits the system. I don't think he's fast enough to be a high line defender.
No.
Good on the ball, but not good off of it. Mate, but is there any logic? Alex, I'll come to you on this one, mate. Is there any logic at all, considering we probably need 3 centre-backs and we can't spend 30 million on every one of them? Is there any logic to go and spend the 5 or 6 million on Longley to have him as the second choice left-sided centre-back behind someone like a Bella Kotchap or a Laporte or whoever, not Indica, I know he's going to Roma, but whoever else? What are your thoughts on Longley generally, Alex? And welcome to the show, mate.
He's okay. The fact is, you just said it there. They want to get rid of him for 5 million. Doesn't say a lot. It says a lot there, doesn't it?
Yeah.
I think we need to move on. You know what I mean? There's nothing else to say on this guy. Honestly, there's nothing else to say on this guy. I said square pegs and round holes. Then goes that guy.
We need 2 left-sided centre backs then. So what if we're trying to be reasonable again in terms of like financially, not going like, okay, we're going to go get Laporte and we're going to go get Hincapie or whatever. Like, who are the 2 options to bring in as the first and second choice?
I've got no idea. But the point is that if you've got Romero as your centre back, you need somebody, like I said again. I'm repeating myself again. Somebody like a John Terry or a Rio Ferdinand who can control him. That's my partner for him. If you don't have Romero there, you can get 2 other centre backs who can work well together. It's simple as that. There's no point in getting these centre backs you're mentioning if they don't work well together, because you can have the 2 best centre backs, if they don't get on with each other, don't work well together, it ain't working.
Yeah, it is why a lot of people are saying you got to be sensible with the left-sided centre back. When if Romero is the rash one, you do need someone who's a bit seasoned and a bit sensible to come in and be able to kind of control that back line and have the commanding presence and sort of like someone that Romero would look up to be able to go, okay, I'm going to follow this guy's lead, as opposed to feeling like he has to run the show back there himself.
Yeah. Of course. Just quickly, I'm not sure. Joy Bingham in your chat who said Sava's really negative. I don't know what I've said. I literally just said that I'd like Bella Kotchap. I don't know.
Yeah,
I was saying Spurs fans that we're going to finish 6th. We're going to finish in the top 6 next season, because that's what I was hearing yesterday on one stream.
No, I was on that stream with you. I was on that stream. They said to me, Sean, what are the goals for the season? What's the expectation? What's the goal? What's the outcome? Whatever. And I said, best case scenario, if everything goes well, then you could sneak into the Europa League. If everything goes well, in all likelihood, I wouldn't hate being where we are this season, 8th, 9th. I think would be okay as a transitional season. I'd think that if we finish in the bottom half of the table, it would be a disappointment, but I'd still tolerate it as long as we saw all the other things that we're looking forward to seeing. But that the range for me is from 9th to, like out dream world scenario. Like if it would, and it would require everything to go right at Spurs and a lot of things to go wrong at a few other clubs. But dream world 5th, we're never going to get any higher than that. But there's an outside chance that maybe, just maybe, we could finish 6th or 7th if some things go our way.
Sean, do you agree that I think if this man manages to get any form of European football next year, he would have surpassed my expectations just because of the transitional
100%.
period. But there are Spurs fans, like Alex said, there are Spurs fans. I've seen some of your chat right now saying top 4, and it's like you've got to look at the teams above us, right? That listen, I'm not saying we will never catch any of them again, but they're all going into this much more prepared than we are. You know, they're not coming into a season with a brand new manager, brand new director of football. You know, we're talking about 10 players out, 10 players in. I just think we need to be really, really honest here. We're not as good as Man City and Arsenal, nowhere near. Man United will keep spending, and we're not as good as them. Newcastle, we'll see what they do. You've got Aston Villa around us. You've got Brighton around us. Liverpool are already improving their midfield, like you said, Adam. Chelsea are going to play once a week. What's Poch going to do there? For me, I don't want to put any expectations, Sean, next year. I've said to all of you, so that I'm not a flip-flop, whatever people want to say. I've said next year, the league position for me isn't important as long as, like you said, Sean, that we see all the other stuff. Can we see that we're building a nice team that, you know, if we finish 8th, 9th, 10th next season, but the team's looking good and it's young and hungry, and then we go again, I'm cool with that. Mm-hmm. But fans talking about top 4 is, I just think
it would require everything to happen. Like, it would require. It's so far out of it, so far beyond the realms of possibility. But if it did happen, Postecoglou would go down immediately as like one of the most
the best manager we've ever had.
The problem I have with it is that we're still going on this top 4 debate again. You know, we need to refocus on trying to figure out how to grow this team to have a target of actually winning trophies. That's the point. Yeah. But that's a long way ahead. That's a long way down the road, I'm saying. But it's just like, we're gonna be top 4. It's deluded.
Yeah, it's another rod.
Deluded.
It's another rod that Daniel Levy made for his own back, because the fact that he wants to keep acting like we're a top 4 club and like we're one of the biggest teams in the country makes Spurs fans expect that. And so there's a degree to which I think is partly we live in a very kind of entitled age and generation where you just get that across the board. But with Tottenham fans in particular, it's really bad because of the image that Daniel Levy has presented for the club. We are not a top 4 team. We are not even a top 6 team right now. And yet he continues to charge us like we are, brand us like we are. And then that gives a certain expectation from the fans.
Adam, also say this. Go on, Sava.
All I was going to say is this. I think as well, we're sitting here on the 10th of June talking about where teams are going to finish next season, especially where Tottenham are going to finish. I think what we go into the season with compared to where we are now is going to look very, very different. If, for example, he goes and buys 7 or 8, 19, 20 year, I'm not saying he will, but then straight away, I will certainly go, right, let's curb expectations and let's build. If we went out, and I'm not saying we will, if you go out and buy Raya, I don't think this is going to happen, by the way, before everyone in this chat shouts at me. If you got a Laporte at centre-half, if you got James Maddison, now all of a sudden I'm going, okay, we can, but I don't think those things will happen. We'll find out in the next 8-9 weeks, but I think this is a conversation for a week before the season starts and we go, right, what's coming? What are our expectations? But lots of people saying football's a funny game and Arsenal weren't in the race last year, but look at this year that's just happened. But Arsenal, for me, didn't need to go out, didn't get a new manager, didn't get a new director of football, didn't need to get rid of about 15. Yeah,
we are changing everything. Yeah.
We're almost going to do what Chelsea did, but on a smaller scale, you know. And even then, I think people need to realise you can't just change everything in a summer and people go, right, everyone's gelled. We've built partnerships all over the pitch. We know our best 11. Right, go and rival Newcastle, Man City, Arsenal, Liverpool. I just think common sense needs to prevail a little bit here.
Let me ask the guys in the comments, right? Just stick a number in from, or wherever you like. Where do you think? Not where do you hope, but where do you think? In your mind, with how much money you think Tottenham will have to spend and where we're going to spend it in your mind, where do you think Tottenham will finish from 1 to 20? Just stick a number in, no other context. I want us to just take a little snapshot in time, see what's going on with the thought processes of the
Can I just apologise? Can I just apologise for mentioning this guy's name? Because I said I'd never admit it because I don't want to be a political club, and that's what I hope we're not going to be. We're going to back to a football club, next season, But Daniel Levy, that statement, right? That's why I'm not saying anything about Andris Postecoglou until I see he convinces me, because that statement that he made, blaming everybody else but not looking at himself. That worries me. Because he can act exactly the same way with this guy as well. Because we all know there's a 5-game losing streak coming to Tottenham. And what is he going to do? That's the point I'm making, because this is a transitional season. Like it's always been. Like it's the status quo for Tottenham Hotspur every 4 years or every 3 years. Like it's like Christmas. You know what I mean? Or like a leap year. You know what I mean? That's Tottenham Hotspur. So let's just say this: if it's a 4 or 5 game losing streak, what's he going to do when the fans are going mad and saying
he's going to double down, isn't he? He said that.
That's the worry for me at the moment.
His plan B is to do plan A better, which is, I don't know. That worries me as well, to be honest. Like, I'm all excited about this guy, I really am. But you got to play devil's advocate and talk a little bit about the weaknesses in the guy's strategy, or not necessarily weaknesses, but just the things that stand out as a little bit. I complained all last year that Conte had no plan B. So I'd be a hypocrite if I didn't say that the idea of his plan B being do plan A better doesn't concern me a little bit. It does. I'm looking forward to the football, but if he gets found out by better players and smarter coaches early, then I'd like to think that he does have a different trick up his sleeve, and apparently he doesn't. So, Alex, I take your point, mate. There is going to be a period where we're going to go through bad times, and it'd be interesting to see not only what he does, but also how the fans react, because we know what
just that. Sure, the board worry me as well, because they're up and down as well, because they're all pulling in different directions as well. You know what I mean? Because this is either Levy, because either Levy's got lucky again, because he's got lucky with his appointments as well. Like, this guy hasn't got no idea.
But Alex, sorry, can we say that? I mean, look, I feel like, as much as I hate Levy and Enoch, right? And I'll caveat this conversation with that. Everyone, I think, knows that by now. I don't think that should be a shock to anyone. But if it does work with Postecoglou, and I'm going to caveat that by saying I don't know what that means, to be honest, if it works, because I think this is going to be a work in progress. But we can't turn around, Alex, and go, oh, it's worked with Postecoglou, he got lucky. It can't be, if it works with a manager, he's lucky. If it doesn't work, look how bad Daniel Levy is. All the reports.
No, that's not what I'm saying, though. That's not what I'm saying, Sabah.
Yeah, but well, it is, Alex. You're saying.
No, I'm not saying that. I didn't say that. No, but
you said, is he going to get lucky with another manager?
No, but the point I'm making is that he never sticks with something, right? He makes a decision,
right?
And again, I do apologize to people because I didn't want to bring him up, because I'm not in that game.
Yeah, I apologize, mate. It's a panel show.
No, because I'm a football guy and I stick to the football because I'm sick of this guy. I'm sick of hearing Daniel Cullen's name as well. My point is that he doesn't stick to his own decisions, right? And doesn't own it, right? It was him that made the decision to sack Martin Jol at half time. Yeah. Got in Ramos, didn't stick with him. Yeah. Right. Okay. It's his decision. Yeah. To sack Harry Redknapp. Yeah. Right. Got in Villas-Boas, didn't stick with him.
Yeah. You're giving us a history lesson.
It was his decision that he got Pochettino in, and sacked him, right? Got in Mourinho, which was his decision went and done it himself, and didn't stick with his own decision and sacked him after the cup final. And he didn't take any accountability whatsoever. Conte, Pratici, all these people, I'm saying. And this is the point I'm saying. Like, if he doesn't take any accountability for this, right, I'm worried for next season, because this is the thing. There's going to be some very hard times at the moment.
I agree, but I'm still waiting for an answer to the actual question I asked you, which was, you said, you're doing that thing again where you're asked a question, you're going into a tangent about things that are nothing to do with it. You said he's going to, if he gets lucky again with a manager. My point was, if it works with Postecoglou, why is it that it was lucky? Because all the noises and reports coming out of Spurs is that this was the guy they've been talking to for the last 2 months since Scott Munn was announced. The reports are that this was their number one target. So
fair enough.
Why would that be lucky?
But fair enough. You're saying that, Saba. But at the same time, though, he's got previous. Yeah. So I'm sorry. Saba, we're not. We have to agree to disagree on this. Okay. Regardless, it's
I don't know
or
what
not.
I don't know what you're disagreeing on. You haven't answered my question, Alex. Like, you haven't.
I'm answering the question. I'm saying to you. Yeah. I see what you're saying. That he's not. Scott Munn came in and maybe that was their first target. I don't know. Yeah, maybe that's what has been sold. It's told in the press. I don't know. Right, I haven't read on that. My point is, though, from my perspective, right, this guy don't look like a guy that's got an idea what to do in the future for me. Yeah, and he hasn't taken accountability for the decisions and the problems that have happened before. Right, and that statement for me shown it for me, right? And he's gonna have to take some humble pie this season, okay? And for me, if it doesn't go right, is he gonna stick with it? Is he gonna because the boards are gonna say to him, we're not doing work at the moment. I've got so much investment at the moment. Yeah, what's going on, Levy? What are you gonna do? What are you gonna do? Yeah, so is he gonna fold again? You see what I'm saying? Because he did it with Nuno. Yeah, regardless whether he was our 15th choice or Pratigi's first choice, he did it with Nuno.
I agree. Do you know what? I'll give up. I'm not going to get the answer to what I asked at all, am I? So I'll just give up.
Well, I've made my point anyway. I've made my point. I've made my point. It might not answer Sava's question, but if a comments see it as that's it, because it's not question time from Sava, by the way. It's Alex's time. That's what it's called. It's the box office time, and that's it. Back to you, Sean, and that's it. I'm done. You know what I mean?
Well, look, whether or not you
were boss or something like that, but bloody hell, my gosh!
I just don't. I just do not. I just don't get him. I don't understand what I mean.
I wasn't going around their houses, by the way, Nigel. By the way, it's just that I've been told that I haven't answered this question. I was making the point, and that's it. And I think I've made it quite clear. If you can't understand what I'm saying, Nigel, I don't know what else to say to you, and that's it. Back to you, Sean. I'm done.
Just quickly, Alex. I fully understood everything you just said there. It was a very good point, and I agree with everything you've just said. The problem was, it wasn't what I asked you. It's literally like me saying to Sean, if I said to Sean, mate, listen, where are we going to eat tonight? You know, we've got plans tonight, Sean. Where are we going to eat? And Sean goes, I'll tell you what, though, tomorrow, I really think we're going to go to the cinema. Okay, cool. But I didn't ask you that. I asked you what we were going to eat tonight. Like, you didn't, you made a point. It wasn't the point.
It went down very well, mate. Everyone, listen, whether or not it was
I agree with him.
It went down very well. Everyone in the comments was saying bang on Saba. Bang on Alex, mate. So you absolutely nailed it, mate.
Yeah, you nailed it.
I don't know what you were talking about, but it was very, very impressive.
Sean, I'm just impressed that he managed to get through all of that without giving us a lesson about Birkinshaw and Bill Nicholson.
Whoa. That was when we were relevant, Saba. So I will keep on going on about that, by the way. You know what I mean? Because we ain't done something since, though, bro. So you can get sick of it as well, bro. But at the end of the day, that made Tottenham Hotspur, bro. The Tottenham Hotspur that we're still supporting at the moment in the Premier League, by the way. You know what I mean? So be grateful. That's it. Back to you, Sean. I'm done. I gave him a lesson. That's it. I'm done.
Well done, mate. Well done. Welcome to the show, Perchometer. How you doing, Perchy?
I'm good, mate. I just wanted to ask Alex: has he done his own, used his own catchphrase yet about Postecoglou? That's the question.
Has he got to know?
Have you got to know Postecoglou yet? And if you haven't, you better get to know.
Again, a gift that keeps on giving, telling me that I need to get to know Postecoglou. I've got no opinion on him until he convinces me. I did the same thing with Pochettino. He convinced me. Yeah. If he does it again, great. Yeah. But he needs to convince Daniel Levy, because you know what he's like. I've just explained to you already, just 5 minutes ago, and that's it. But you make yourself known now. You know what I mean?
I always make myself known. Don't you worry.
Perchy, I'm going to come to you with a question in a second, because I want to move the conversation back into. I think we've done with centre backs. We're going to move up the pitch a little bit to some of the stories that are out regarding the midfielders now before we get up the top end. Before we do, Chris Agomba makes a wonderful point. Oh, cheers, Sam. Appreciate you,
Yeah,
mate.
no, thank you. By the way, Joy Bingham in the chat. Every comment you make about me, if you like me, just message me on Instagram. Maybe we'll go on a date or something. You seem really concerned with everything I say. Much love, Sean. Love ya. Perchy, love ya. Good to meet you, Adam and Alex. Alex, I've no idea what you talk about, but I love you too. See you later, guys. Bye-bye.
Make sure you go over to the Football Heritage as well, guys, to subscribe. He's hitting some wonderful numbers, and get over there and show him some love. Whilst you're at it, also get over to Mr. Box Office TV, Alex THFC. I'm not sure the order of it, but get on the. I'll put all the links in the description after the show, and also the Perchy TV as well. But Chris does make a good point. 520 people here and only 151 likes. It's insulting, guys. Please smash the like button for me. It really helps the algorithm, and it really helps push out the show and let more people get involved with the conversation. Love your support as always. Perchy, rumors out today that Tottenham are back in. It's the rumor that the gift of the rumor that keeps on giving to coin Alex THFC. Sofyan Amrabat, a wonderful midfielder, a player that Tottenham were linked with all the way back 18 months ago, January before last, a player that all Tottenham fans said, who is this clown? This is a Daniel Levy transfer if ever there was one. No one wanted him. He then goes on to be a classy player.
Good player, doesn't he?
Absolute world-class player for Fiorentina, and then goes and does it at the World Cup as well. The links are back again. He could sit in that 6th role. The reason I bring it up is because if we want Postecoglou's system to be replicated to a T at Tottenham, then the 4-3-3, as I see it, the specific roles of the guy who plays the 6 and the guy who plays in the 2-8, they're very unique and very nuanced roles. And I'm not entirely sure who fits of our current squad in midfield, who fits any particular one of those positions perfectly. The number 6, you might look at Bissouma and think,
for sure.
He's good enough to be the guy who can sit back and protect the back line, and he's certainly got a good range of passing, but he's not the best of the midfielders when it comes to passing. You might look at Bentancur and say he's brilliant with his passing, and everything goes through the 6 in the Postecoglou system, but he doesn't have the defensive ability to sit back and protect. And you look at Højbjerg and say, well, he's kind of good at everything, but also not good at everything, depending on how you feel. He's definitely not the best at anything within that. So Sofyan Amrabat, for me, does come in with the brutality, the kind of monster number 6 role. He also has that passing range. Is he someone, Perchy, that you think Tottenham would suit? And do you think that Tottenham would go out and spend the amount of money that he's probably worth now? You know, we could have got him for 5 million last year, and now he's probably closer to 40 or something. Do you think it's going to happen?
I'll be honest. I think someone's in the chat said it. I think he will go to Barcelona. I think that's who want him. I think Barca want him, and I think he's probably waiting. I mean, let's be honest. I think you'd rather go to the League of Champions than us at the moment. I think that's valid. So, listen, if you get someone like that into your team, then he's a very good player. Fits the sort of mold that we want, but I just don't see it. I just don't see it happening. I think it's probably more paper talk than it is realistic. Is my thoughts on it. It's easy.
He's a fantastic player, though, isn't he?
He's fantastic.
If Barcelona had come calling, does Barcelona have the same draw as Real Madrid? We were having this debate about Harry Kane, right? Like Harry Kane might not want to leave the Premier League, but maybe it's different if Real Madrid come calling. If Real Madrid come calling, who has turned down Real Madrid in their career? Maybe one or two, like Totti, but that's really about it. Not many players turn down Madrid. Like, does Barcelona have the same kind of draw these days, Perch?
Yeah, it's Barcelona, mate.
As big as Real Madrid?
Yeah. And listen, if Harry Kane was linked, to Barcelona, let's just put it this way, he would do anything to wear that number 10 shirt at Barcelona. No.
Oh no, I think so. Yeah, I agree. Yeah, just
putting out there. To wear that shirt, and he gets the privilege to wear it.
How many?
Why wouldn't you? I'm not saying you go there because they won't, because they've got Lewandowski, but no, I think they're as much of a pool as Real Madrid. Their financial situation is a bit different, but Amrabat's different. That's a massive step up for Amrabat. Is him going to Spurs? It's not as big of a step. I think it's a step up, but it's not as big of a step up, though, is it?
Well, I don't know. For Fiorentina got to the cup final. Tottenham haven't got to a European Cup final for 4 or 5 years.
I think you've got to be thought process on financial side of things as well, and the Premier League's a better standard as well, football wise. But yeah, no, I get your point. I do get your point.
What about you, Adam? Do you you a fan of the man Sofiane Amrabat or?
100%. The thing as well is, like, as far as Barcelona is concerned, like he doesn't necessarily walk straight into the first team there. Whereas he walks straight into the first team at Spurs, he'll pick up a nice little wage packet. Amrabat could be the captain of Spurs. We got to think about the fact that we're looking for. It's not only we got to fill positions that we're a little bit weak in at the moment, but Hugo Lloris is going out the door. I don't think Harry Kane should be our captain, even if he stays. I always felt like we should have a midfield general that is where's the captain's armband, like a Roy Keane, like a Steven Gerrard. These are this is the ideal position because you can scream at everybody all over the pitch. You're the center of everything, and I just for me, I've said this a million times, and I'm not going to go down that rabbit hole too much. But I don't even think that Højbjerg. I'd rather sell Højbjerg and get money for him than keep him around. And I certainly wouldn't, like, I don't want him in the first team, which is why I wouldn't give him the captain's armband. I think he'd be a great captain somewhere else, but I am sick and tired of seeing balls being passed sideways and backwards and not forward. And Amrabat comes in, he's an instant improvement. I definitely think I would hand him the captain's armband immediately. And
Amrabat.
Yeah, I don't know, but I'm not sure on that one. But I see your point on it, though.
I honestly would, because I mean, like, isn't he the captain for Morocco?
Yeah,
pretty sure
it might be Morocco. You might be right. It's not. Maybe Ziyech.
He's well able. Right. He's well able. He can call the shots. He can boss people around. This guy is honestly.
He is a beast of a player, an absolute beast of a player. I just don't. Be interested to see how Postecoglou wants to go. Do you think? Let's pivot quickly on that conversation, and rather than talk about transfers, just for a second, how do you think, if he wants to emulate the system as it stands, do you think we'll merge the Maddison story, because that's the next story I want to talk to. Obviously, he's the £50 million guy. He's the guy that has the strongest links. Allegedly, Postecoglou, has come in and immediately said to Daniel Levy, "I want Maddison." If the rumors are believed to be true, so there's 3 spots in the midfield, in the 1-6 and 2 8s. Where does Maddison fit into it if we bring him in? Does he fit into one of the 8s, or is he going to be asked to be playing in one of the 3 front, the 3 at the top?
No,
and if he'd be in the Matt O'Reilly role, would he, or would he be in the Matt O'Reilly role? Yeah,
the right-sided, more progressive of the 8s. Like, one of the 8s obviously asked to pay a bit more reserved, and I think that's more of, like, if we can give, like, I think for me it's Basuma as it stands. Basuma playing in the number 6, and then you have Bentancur playing on the more reserved number 8, and the progressive number 8 is Maddison for sure.
Yeah, because from Ryan saying, and Sean, you've probably done a lot more research. I watched the stuff. I think you watched the same video I watched it with from James Alcott, where he kind of said that the wingers stay really wide, and then the 2 centre mids make late runs into the box, and then that's where a lot of his goals come from. So so you might be right. I think you could be right. I think Maddison in that as the more progressive of the 2 in that role allows us to have that sort of 2-3-5 attack when we go forward, if that makes sense.
Yeah. So then if Maddison was to come in and play there, then do we presume that on the left-hand side, the guy who's going to be the Rio Hatate role on the left of the 2 8s, would that be where Bentancur, a fully fit Bentancur, would sit?
Absolutely. 100%.
Possibly. It depends about this injury. I always say this to people about Bentancur. Yes, I think you're on paper, yeah. But if he doesn't come back properly from this injury, and some players don't, by the way, when they have an ACL injury, some players don't come back because it's that bad of an injury. We don't know how good he'll be when he does come back. And I think that's such a critical point. I think we have to go and sign a player there just as even if it's a squad player, short term for 6 months, but that's my key one for it.
And then, so we're then thinking that if he doesn't have the budget to go and then get the Amrabat or whoever else, then we put Bissouma in the 6, will be, and ask him to play the protector in chief of the back 4.
Yeah.
Agreed? Bissouma's number 6 for sure. Like, outside of bringing in a new player, it's him. I think Sarr should stay in the team at that point and be his understudy. Like, if we need someone to play in the 6, I think Sarr is well capable, but Bissouma should be number 1.
I think Pape Sarr will have will be well utilized by Postecoglou as well. Let me ask you this, guys. So there's a couple of questions that a couple of people are talking about. James Ward-Prowse. There are links today. David Ebikemi, big up to you, mate. And And who else is? So I just had it up a minute ago. And Hodgod is saying James Ward-Prowse as well. I don't know what the asking price is for Ward-Prowse. Like personally, I know everyone thinks of him just as a free kick specialist, right? But he only got three goals from direct free kicks last season, which is one more than about 10 other players in the Premier League. It's not to be sniffed at. But and I know I think the season before he got 4
free kicks as well. So
right, like I just think that when people say he's this world-class free kick taker, and he is, but essentially if you're missing by an inch, you're still missing, right? It doesn't matter if the ball whips 2 inches past the post or 2 feet or 20 feet, you're still missing. So if you're only getting 3 goals from free kicks, you then have to look at his wider game and think, is he good enough? Now, I do think he had, I think, 8 or 9 goals in all competitions. In the Premier League last season. So 3 from the free kicks, 6 in other areas. I think he was also involved in like half a dozen assists. So 15, 16 goal contributions for the Premier League. And he was playing in the 6 role or the DM role for Southampton. Is he a player that makes more sense when you think about it, that he can pop up and get the goals when needed, but also can sit there and play in that kind of defensive role? Do you guys share the love for James Ward-Prowse, or is he someone that you don't think?
I'm a huge James Ward-Prowse fan, but I wouldn't have him in over Amrabat. If you've got a choice between get your absolute perfect number 6 that will be running the show there for because James Maddison, again, he's the captain of Southampton, so it's another guy that can come in and run the show. But if you've got to choose between the two, Amrabat all day long, and then
I wasn't that impressed with him.
I like James Ward-Prowse.
I wasn't that impressed with Amrabat during the Conference League. I wasn't very impressed with him at all. I thought he was okay. I don't think he was that great. I don't think he was that great. I think he's just a systematic player like Højbjerg. That's just me. I don't agree. I think if you talk about a midfielder, you're talking about, for me, Maddison all day long. But
that's for attacking though. When we're talking the number 6.
But I agree with that Ward-Prowse though. I think he's just a free kick merchant, and that's it. There's a reason why.
I think that's so disrespectful to his actual gameplay. Like this is, I'm going to put a caveat on James Ward-Prowse. I would get.
Why did Southampton get relegated then, bro?
It wasn't because of James Ward-Prowse, was it?
Yeah, but bro, he's one of the top midfielders in that midfield.
Yeah, but you know the reason why Southampton went down is because they couldn't score goals. They could barely score goals.
Yeah,
like that was the reason why Southampton, they didn't go down because of defensively they were okay, relatively. I mean, they had a couple of hammerings, but they didn't score enough goals, and that was the reason they went down. I think they're the lowest scorers in the league for a big gap. But from the price tag that I've heard about James Ward-Prowse, I would say no. I think the price tag was 52 million quid. I read, and for that, there's no way that 52 million quid. And I was like, no chance. He's one of those. If you can get him for 20 million quid, it's a good buy. But anything really north of that, I mean, even at a push 25 million quid, maybe. But I think anything north of that, you've got to say there's better options elsewhere. I'd like him in, but I would not for 50 million quid. I wouldn't. No chance.
And if he did come in, where would you ask him to play? Because he can play in multiple positions, right?
You'd play him in that 3 with Basuma and Maddison, and then when Bentancur comes in, you use him as a squad player. I think you just work more in that midfield 3. That's how I would do it. He'd be the deeper of the 2 of him and Maddison. Maddison would be the one that goes further forward, and then Basuma's obviously your 6, and then that way you've got your 3. But then that way, then it allows a bit of difference. But yeah, my point being is it all depends on price tag, and if they're, I'm not saying that like we're going to go and get these players, but yeah, I think James Ward-Prowse will end up going to West Ham, is my opinion.
Yeah,
I think he'll be the Declan Rice replacement. Is my thought. Genuine thought.
Yeah, that makes sense. That makes all the sense in the world.
That's a perfect transition because I do want to move up the pitch now to the final area of the squad that we haven't talked about, which is obviously the forward line and what we can do with or without Harry Kane with the money we may or may not have. One of the rumours that Tottenham have been linked with recently is another man from Leicester, is Harvey Barnes. I think he's a really talented player, a really good player. I really do like him. He's 20. I always thought he was super young, but I think he's 26 now, so he's kind of kicking on a little bit. But for me, the amount of money he would cost and also let me run with this one. I think that he'd obviously be competing with Sonny to come off the left-hand side. I personally think that Sonny is going to have a much better season next season. I think the Postecoglou system is going to suit him to be able to come into the inversion, use his right foot like he likes to do. I think it will suit him far more than the Conte requirements were asked of him. And so if you're going to spend money on someone to be back up to Sonny, looking at last season, when Sonny had a terrible year relative to what we expect from him, he still barely got dropped. I don't know if it's worth spending all that money on a Harvey Barnes. And the reason I've said a good transition purchase, because obviously West Ham are also heavily linked with Harvey Barnes. And I think that you might make sense to say that Harvey Barnes and James Ward-Prowse might go into the West Ham team and both have a lot of relevance, a lot of minutes, and do really well for them. I'll start with you, Alex, and then we'll go in where direction we want. In terms of trying to replace Dan Juma, we're not going to activate the fee for him. So we do need someone who can play out on the kind of the forward, like the wing forwards, the inside forward roles. We've obviously got to replace Lucas as well. Maybe Brian Hill goes back to Seville, maybe not. If we're looking for two forwards to come in to compete with Sonny, to compete with Sonny mainly. Who do you think makes sense for those roles? And also let us know in the comments, guys, who you'd like to see come in. Alex, I'll start with you and then we'll go around the houses.
I like Harvey Barnes. I do like Harvey Barnes. I think that's the only one that I can think about at the moment. That is the one that I would prefer at the moment. There's a guy for Leeds that I like.
Jack Harrison.
Not him.
Dallas.
Nonto.
Yeah, I think he's Nonto.
Yeah,
Italian
fella.
Yeah, I think he has a bit, but I think he's a bit unpredictable, to be honest.
Did Rodrigo leave Leeds, or is he still there?
Yeah, Rodrigo. I think he
Awesome.
works a lot. I think he works really hard. I think.
He's going on a bargain, Rodrigo. He's got a €4 million release clause.
Yeah, what is that? How did that get slipped into his contract?
Yeah, I still like Maddison. I do like Maddison, but I do hear where people say that he's got a bit of a bad attitude a little bit. He has problems with his attitude a little bit. So that's where I'm a bit like question mark on that. I'd say at the moment. I don't
interest
know
in either of these two guys, Man or Solomon, Alex? I'll stick with you quickly.
I don't really know a lot about Solomon, to be honest.
Man or Solomon, he's a weird one because when I've seen him play, I go, he technically looks like a good player. I watched him play for Fulham a little bit, and I go, just a little bit more quality from him, and he'd be a very good player. On a free, it's an absolute no-brainer. It's a weird one, like absolute no-brainer. And
he's playing second fiddle to Sonny. He's not going to get all that much game time
anyway.
You go on a free, and he's a pretty decent. Bring him in.
I think we need to stop this whole thing about Sonny being first choice now. To be honest with you, I think we need to start. I'm not trying to be triggering people, but I just got to this point now where you know what I mean. But I'm just getting to this point now where we need to stop this whole thing about Sonny needs to be the first choice on the pitch now. Like he needs to be fighting for his place as well now. You know what I mean? Because we can't have this situation. You know, we need to do this now because like. If we're going to move on this team onto bigger and better things, everyone needs to be fighting for their places, and everyone should be. You know, we need to have a 23-man squad that can work, that can all come in regardless. You know what I mean? Either who are up and coming and have got the potential to do it, right, or they're established and that's it. You know what I mean? And I'm tired of this, this guy can't go. No, sorry. This is why teams don't do well in the Premier League, because they've only got 11 top players and then the others are just rubbish and that's it. And
I just wonder whether or not there's I hate to say it, but like the pressure, maybe there's commercial pressure from the board or whatever that Sonny, because of all the fans that come over from Korea, because of the just financial realities of him. I know it's
100%.
Name 10 players in the world better in Sonny's position than Sonny. You couldn't not 10. So like considering that we're Tottenham Hotspur, we're not Real Madrid. Who are you bringing in that's better than Sonny? I'm sorry.
No, Adam, I get
Sonny's good. Sonny's good. He's a great player, yeah, but he ain't world class. he ain't world class because we ain't won no
neither
trophies.
neither was anybody else we're going to bring in.
Forget
We
that.
ain't won no trophies
World
with him.
class. The term world class is subjective. People are going to define that in so many different ways. You can't name me 10 players better than Sonny in his position. You can't. You can name me 5, 6. You can't name me 10. So considering that,
Yeah,
again,
but he hasn't done nothing for me though, bruv. He's scored me goals. Yeah, great. But what has he done? What's he done trophy wise? What's he done trophy wise?
You can say that about Harry Kane. Then that doesn't make
Yeah,
any
well,
sense.
I've said it about Harry Kane already, brother. If you see on my channel, Mr. Box Office TV, I said he's a loser. I said he's a loser. I said he's a loser last year.
You wouldn't sell him though. You wouldn't get rid of him if you have a choice between him signing for us for another 4 seasons. You'd take it. You wouldn't be like, no, Harry, go somewhere else. We'd rather have somebody else other than you. Harry Kane is the best striker on the fucking planet. So you can call him a loser because he's refused to go anywhere else, and he's stayed at Tottenham and won nothing.
Oh,
you wouldn't replace him. You wouldn't replace him. Harry Kane and Heung-min Son, as long as they both want to continue to play for Tottenham, will always be the first 2 names on the team sheet.
Yeah,
but that's the problem with Tottenham Hotspur. Then that is the problem with Tottenham Hotspur. Because if you're going to keep on playing, if you're going to keep on playing players out of form, that's the reason why we don't do well, and that's it. Because when it comes to the crunch of it, right? When it comes to the crunch of it, we don't do anything. Yeah. And that's the problem with Tottenham Hotspur. We've had a solid 11, right, that have not been rotated how many times? And that's the problem with Tottenham Hotspur, right?
I think it was a problem last season. Yeah.
Look at Arsenal last season. Partey wasn't playing well. Boom, hot off the pitch. What's his name came in, and look what happened.
Yeah, but you make another interesting point there in terms of rotation, because you can't just suddenly go, okay, all these players suck, let's rotate every one of them, and then try and have a team of fully fresh players into the system. There are certain players that you are going to have to continue to play with. They are undroppable, because otherwise you're just replacing the entire squad. The players that are completely undroppable at this moment in time, for sure, are Bentancur, Kane, Son, Porro, and Romero. You cannot drop them from the first team. You can't, because otherwise there needs to be some sort of solidity. There needs to be some sort of spine that you can work the other players in around.
Drop and rotate though.
Can I just sit on the fence for a little bit? Because I'm going to give Alex a bit of leeway on this one, because I do agree with what he said, but I do agree with what Adam's saying here. I'm going to sit on the fence and be devil's advocate for a reason. I don't agree with the notion that every player deserves to start. For me, I don't. You earn merit to play for Tottenham. You earn the right to play for Tottenham. If you're having a bad run of form, you shouldn't be playing. Full stop. I think we need to. But the caveat is we need players to be fighting for positions. None of this notion that Kane has to start, Son has to start, Kulusevski has to start. For me, I don't think we should have players that earn a right to be on the starting list. I think you earn your place. Kane earns his right to start every week because he scores goals. He scores goals every week.
I agree. I was calling for Sonny to be dropped at certain points of the season last season. Sometimes you have to rest them. You have to kind of give them the fire in their belly to try and earn their way back in. That's fine. The only thing I'm saying is that of all the players that we have, Sonny is without a doubt going to have more games, more starts, more minutes than the vast majority of players next season, no matter what. That's going to happen.
Okay, no, I think
for me, Manor Solomon is good enough that if we do need to drop Sonny for any reason, he can come in. But he's not so good as to be like, I want to come into this squad and take Sonny's position. He'd be a fantastic understudy. And that's what
agreed. I agree. I agree to a certain extent what you're saying. And for me, I have a change of thought. I think we're going to end up selling the likes of Harry Kane, and then some will play down the middle in this system and have a lot more pace out wide. And then
that's not a bad shout.
I think Son down the middle in this system that Postecoglou will play will allow with a lot of techie
in the 9 role.
Yeah. I've been calling for Son to be.
I think we'll end up playing Son down the middle, if I'm honest, and allowing Son to be that one in the middle, and then getting on the end of stuff on the final on the last at the end of it all. And it allows the pace out wide, and then it allows the 2 centre midfielders to tuck into that attacking 5.
I just want to ask you. Go on, Perch. Go on, finish.
What I was just going to say, like with the whole Heung-min Son one, though, like when people sort of say, no, we can't get rid of him. If an offer comes in for him that is over 60, 70 million quid, I think it's a no-brainer to sell. If I'm personally, I think But I agree also with what Sean was saying is the commercial aspect of Heung-min Son is such. However much people will turn their heads and roll their eyes to it, that is unfortunately it's a reality of this football club, and the way that we operate is that regardless of it, the financial aspect of what Heung-min Son does for this football club will always be insignificant. That's why I said at the beginning of last season, Son will retire at this football club because commercially he's a bigger prospect to this football club than anything else. And I don't like the notion of it, but I live in reality and understand how things work.
Let me get to a couple of super chats, and then I want to ask you guys a little bit about this particular comment from Ken Saxton about Destiny Udoji, and maybe because of we don't know, whether he can defend. Maybe it could be a Pedro Porro kind of situation. Maybe he could sit in there and be the understudy to Sonny. But let me come back to that in a second. Before we do, Paul Markey with the super chat. Thank you so much, Paul. Really appreciate it. He says Maddison and Prowse. Ward-Prowse are bang average. We need better, i.e. Christian Medina from Boca, only 21 years old and could be got for 15 million. I've heard a lot about Christian Medina, but I'll be entirely honest, I don't know. I haven't looked into him, and is that Boca Juniors in Argentina? Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, I'm sure Boca Juniors. I'm assuming that is.
Yeah, I got no idea. I've never seen him play, mate. So I can't give you any kind of thoughts on him, but. I wouldn't say that Maddison and Prowse are bang average. If you're saying that they're bang average compared to Medina, then I'll have to go and check him out because that sounds insane. Do any of you guys know Christian Medina?
Nah, no idea. I can't tell you that. I don't have a clue.
Yeah. I will go and have a look at him on the Y Scout tool, Paul, for the next show. I'll talk about him. By the way, whilst I'm at that, after we did the Y Scout, the play the Chief Scout thing the other day, I was playing around with it the other night, and I've identified this player from Stuttgart, and I want everyone who's interested to go and check him out. Hiroki Ito, Japanese left-footed, left-sided centre-back from Stuttgart. I think he's valued at like 6 million euros. He's 23 years old, 24, just turned 24. He's 6'2", Japanese guy. He's super fast. He's really, really good defensively tackling, and his long ball ability, pinging balls left and right, is superb. He gets up and scores goals. He takes free kicks. If you get a free kick from like 35 yards out, he does like Roberto Carlos type free kicks where he takes like a 20-yard run up and then bangs it as hard as he can. I've never heard of this guy, but the Y Scout tool threw him out to me, and I want everyone to go and check him out. And ever since I found him a couple of nights ago, this morning, it looks like Napoli might be interested. So go and have a look. Let me know if you think he could be a player for us, guys. Sorry.
And sure, I was just going to just with that, I'll be quick here, but that's exactly the signing I want to see at this football club.
What's his name?
That is the antithesis of
Ito.
That is the antithesis of a signing I want to see at this football club from moving forward. Not massively expensive, but has a good engine, heart and desire, wants to come to Tottenham to play for Tottenham, not because they feel like they're doing us a favour. That is the antithesis of what I want at this football club.
100%, man. I think it would be. I'm not a scout. I'm just using the tool. But from what I've seen of him, I think he looks brilliant. So if anyone does follow German football, let me know in the comments. And then also a super chat here from Quadwo Boateng. Thank you so much, my man. Really appreciate it. He says, Son is not world class. That's a rubbish statement. I think that the problem with the world class thing, Quadro, is it's subjective, right? Everyone has a different, like some people think world class means top 10 in their position in the world. Other people think it's just the top 3. Some people think it's that world class can only be given to the best player in that position. And then obviously that, even if you make it top 3 or top 10, who gets into that list is also a subjective thing. I think that at Sonny's peak a couple of years ago, I think he was verging on world class. I think he's on the line, but there are 3 or 4 better players than him in his position.
Oh yeah.
And for me personally, world class means top 3 in your position, and I think I could name 3 players better than Sonny. And
I was going to say,
he's close though. He's not far.
Just on the world class thing, and this is a key one I wanted to make, because I made this point the other day. Actually, was if someone's world class, if that's the bracket, why haven't elite football clubs gone? You never hear any rumors of the Real Madrids, the Barcelonas, the Bayern Munichs going, oh, we're willing to put 100 million euros on the table for Heung-min Son. You never really hear those rumours. You hear about Harry Kane all the time. For me, I think he's a world-class player. I think Son's that level below. I think that's my opinion.
Yeah, I agree. Alex, I think you said you want to jump off, do you, mate? Thanks so much for coming on. Do you want to let everyone know what's happening on your channel?
I'm working on. There's a reason why I've not done anything. I'm working on something. Like I said, I've refresh, reset, restart, and that sense is again the good, the bad, and the bang average is still working on it, and it's coming soon. So check it out because that's where you'll see a different side of Mr. Box Office, giving you some optimism, like Savas says, and show you what being optimistic is all about, showing what it was like in the past, whether it was bang average, the worst, or the greatest, and that's it. And you'll see a top 5 of it, and that's it. And it's check it out soon, and that's it. So if you don't know, get to know. It's Mr. Box Office TV coming soon, and that's it. And that's all I need to say, and that's it. I'm out of here. Big up to you, Sean. Big up to you, Adam. Big up to you, Hershey. And big up to Sabbath, even though I don't answer his questions, I've been told anyway. And that's it. And that's all I need to say. And that's it. Mr. Box Office is out of here. Bye-bye. Take
Cheers,
care,
Alex, mate.
Yeah, mate.
Appreciate you, buddy.
Big love, Alex.
Get over to Alex THFC. I will put the links in the description to everyone's channels who joined the stream. We're not going to be going for too much longer, guys, but I do want to just continue with the conversation where we were. Ken Saxton, he's brought up, and this was the comment he made earlier as well, but he's gone a little bit deeper. Udogie has speed, possession, engine, dances up and down the touchline with the ball. His only neg stat currently is forward passing. I can't wait to see this guy. I really can't.
Really
it's going to be
excited.
superb. Yeah, really, really excited myself too. I just don't know whether or not in a back four, whether or not he's going to have the defensive side, because he's a wing back, not a fullback. Naturally, doesn't mean he can't adapt. But do you think there's any merit to the idea that maybe rather than going and signing a Harvey Barnes or a Manuel Solomon, and Adam, I take your point. I agree with you that when you're buying someone who's a good player but free, putting aside the risk of getting sued by Shakhtar Donetsk, if you've got limited budget,
won't happen.
I know, yeah. If you've got limited budget,
does anyone actually know the reason why they want to sue? What is it? Does anyone actually know the reason?
They're saying that it's not fair that they lost a player because of a war in the Ukraine. So they like a player that they spent a lot of money on.
So was it he went on loan to Fulham because they were because he was a foreign national that he was allowed to go on loan to Fulham?
He was allowed to leave the Ukrainian league because he was a foreign national, and then
I see. So now he's basically
now he's going on a free. Yeah, so he's able to go on a free now because that time has elapsed, and so they're going to sue that fact that like it would be different if they would say, look, Tottenham should really give us money because we didn't have him for those couple of years.
Yeah, so not a compensation fee. I get what you. Okay, I get it.
But it won't happen. I mean, it is what it is. Like you can't, arbitrate for, no one expected a war to happen. It's nobody's fault in the footballing terms that the war happened. I don't know personally. Like I'm not picking sides, but I'm just saying I don't think Tottenham can be sued.
It'll be. That will definitely ride on that one. But yeah, no. Thanks for explaining. I genuinely didn't know the reason. That was all.
Yeah. So like obviously, Manuel.
If what you were saying about Udogie, Sean, like, do you not think that you discussed this a few times in terms of like playing Emerson on the right, so that that three kind of moves in from the right hand side. Emerson sort of switches into a right sided centre midfield role.
Goes to a 3-1-5-1 kind of system.
Exactly. Udogie is the attacking fullback.
Yeah, and that's what I'd like to see. Like I don't think it's necessary to have. If you've got Emerson on the right, I think you can have Udogie on the left. If you've got Ben Davies on the left, I think you could have Porro on the right. I think you can make that wiggle room as long as you do have someone in the six who can play it. Like Kimmich is a different level of a beast, right? He can sit there, he can ping passes and play the quarterback, but the ball is all the players not getting past him. And I don't think we have someone who can do that. So if you want to do that system where you basically turn the back four into a 3-1 and then you make the 5 up the top, it's fine with me as long as there's someone who's capable of playing that 6. I think what we have right now, Bissouma's the best fit for it, but I don't think he's necessarily the best fit for it generally. If you could go and get, obviously, Ugate's gone to PSG. He was my number one. Maybe Polinia from Fulham could play the role. I like him as well. There's a bunch of players out there that could do it. But
Polinia or Amrabat, in your opinion?
Amrabat.
I'd go João. For me, it's João Paulinho. I've seen enough of this kid to go, he's a top player. I really like João Paulinho.
I think so as well.
Paulinho over Amrabat, yeah.
And that could just be biased because I've seen more of him, but
Listen, I really like Amrabat as well. Amrabat's a bigger guy. He's stronger.
Yeah.
He's like a brick wall. And I think Amrabat offers a little bit more in other areas of the game. I don't know, man. I'm not picky. Like either of those two players coming in, and Sean's a happy clapper. Paul Marker with the super chat. Thanks again, Paul, with the super chat, mate. Really appreciate your support. In fact, if Son was transfer listed, watch the queue. Yeah, 100%. 100%. Well, there's rumors that Saudi Arabia want to come in, and
well, the Saudis want to get him at the end of his contract. So they want to bring him in at the end. So they're thinking about it next season when he's got 1 year left. Whereas now he's got 2 years left on his deal. They're not. So they're planning and plotting to get him when they've got 1 year left. But we'll see where that goes. But
got another super chat here from Cass, my mate from Never a Foul. He says, thanks so much, man. I really appreciate that. He says, Sean, I love you to bits. Taking an interest in your stream with your new manager and targets. Appreciate you. Switched off when Alex talks. Proper donut.
He's gone now. You did it a bit too late.
He's gone now. Yeah, he's getting the hits after it's gone. But other than that, big up Perchy and yourself. Sonny is world class for me. Yeah, well, there you go, mate. There you go. Appreciate you, mate. Very, very generous of you. I have put in your redirect as well. I'm not sure what is your redirect. Let me know in the comment. You haven't got to send a super chat, but let me know what your redirect is after this show, guys. Get over there. Never a Foul. By the way, if you haven't subscribed, go and if you like kind of general football chat, transfer news, and the roundups and the weekly shows and that. The team over at Never a Foul is superb, guys. I'll see if I can find the link and put it in the description for you. Yeah, they talk about all the top six stuff. Brilliant stuff. Thank you so much, Kaz. Really appreciate you. And I will let Alex know that you think he's a donut. So Ken, I don't know if that answers your question. Like, I think the boys here want to see him play as a left back. We just want to make the squad fit around, so we don't have to kind of put him up there and waste his ability to get forward. Because if you play someone that's stuck up there instead of Sonny, or in rotation to Sonny, then maybe you don't get to see him stretch his legs and that. And I think one of the assets of the physical side of Udogie is his engine and his legs and his ability to get up and down the pitch. So I'd like to see him more as a left back than as the left wing forward. But it's nice to have options. I think it's nice to have options.
I wouldn't say no, though. In fairness to that idea, the notion of Sonny playing the number 9 and then you having Udogie out there on the left. If you had like the traditional wingers, so Udogie's left-footed, have him out on as the left winger, have Porro out as the right winger, and he's right-footed, but they both have decent, bad feet, if you put it that way. Udogie has a decent right foot, Porro has a decent left foot. But you play them as traditional wingers. Sonny is the pacey, Kyogo player who's able to drag players away. And then as long as you have two attacking central midfielders, the 2 8s are able to provide a lot of the goal scoring because the wide players are dragging people wide. They're able to cross into Sonny, cross into the 2 attacking midfielders. Then it could work that way as well. And then you have someone, maybe you try Reguilon again and play him as the left back, and you have Emerson as the right back. Play more pressing but traditional left and right backs as well. But you're going back into a very old school kind of system, but it might work.
Just quickly, one word answer out for both of you on this one before we move up the pitch towards, because Derek Smith, perfect timing. We are going to talk now about Harry Kane and what to do with the number 9 role. And then we're going to finish off. So only 10 minutes left. But just quickly, of the 2 left backs that we have outside of, like, assuming we're going to screw Perisic or push Perisic away, Sessegnon or Reguilon, which one of those 2 gets a space in the squad for you next season?
Reguilon.
Perch?
Perch, you're muted.
I'm muted.
You're
sorry.
on mute.
I mean, neither. But if you had to keep one, probably Reguilon. But I mean, if I'm honest, neither. I mean, my worry is just with Reguilon mainly because he hasn't played enough this season. I think he started 2 games for Atletico Madrid this season. Came off the bench 10 times. I mean, for me, I fail to see what everyone sees in him, if I'm honest. I don't think he's a great player. I think he's okay. But yeah, I mean, if you have to play one, if you're going to say one, keep him and get. I think Sessegnon's awful, but yeah, but I mean, I don't think Reguilon's that great. If I'm honest, you're better off getting someone. But if you're not going to, and you're trying to look for the 2-year plan in sort of offloading, keep him for 1 year to get rid of in the next season. But yeah, that's my thoughts.
All right. And then last topic of the day is Kyogo. Furuhashi. Look, 34 goals for Celtic. Don't let the kind of role that he played fool you. He is a sacrificial lamb. The game doesn't go through him. He pulls players out during the build-up. He's all about finding the spaces, pulling into the pockets, making room for the likes of Matt O'Reilly.
And yet he still scores.
And yet he always gets on the end of it. Yeah, exactly. And he's only 5'7". He's a lightweight. Look, I don't know whether or not Tottenham are actually going to go and get him specifically. It'd be interesting if we did. And look, a lot of the Celtic fans who know him inside and out think he's absolutely I'm about to say world class, not saying that. Absolutely of a class that could compete and do well in the Premier League. I'm a little bit concerned about his frame and his size. I think he only weighs about 6 stone soaking wet. But Celtic's defensive systems, Scotland's football is rough and ready as well. So if he can handle the Scottish Premier League, I don't see necessarily why he couldn't handle the Premier League from a physical point of view. But my point is that his role, what he's expected to do, is very much be less involved. And when you've got Harry Kane that plays in the 9, who currently everything goes through him, in a world where Harry Kane stays at Tottenham this year, whether or not he signs a new contract, but in a world where he's still playing for Tottenham in August, how do you see, guys, Postecoglou using Harry Kane? Do you see him playing in the 9 and then the role of the 9 changing? Do you see him playing in the 9 and just having to adapt his game to be, less involved in the build-up and then just still rely on his finishing abilities? Or do you see him being moved out of the 9 role, giving the role to Richarlison, who can do all of the legwork of what the 9 role requires, and then put Harry Kane in one of the 8 positions, like put him in the O'Reilly role, the Matt O'Reilly role? How do you see Harry Kane being used if he stays, first and foremost?
That's exactly what I would do. That's exactly what I would do. I would play Harry Kane in the advanced midfield position. Harry Kane is our Kevin De Bruyne, and I've been saying this for ages. The guy the guy's passing is second to none, never mind his scoring. He can shoot from 30, 35 yards out and still hit a 2-pence piece. And there's absolutely no, I don't understand why we've ever left him hang out to dry up front when we were consistently, with players like Højbjerg and Skip and whatnot, constantly passing sideways and passing back, and Harry is left having to run back anyway to join the play. He may as well be in the middle dictating the play with the likes of Bentancur and Basuma, and then you leave Richarlison up front, doing what he does best for Brazil, which is playing in that number 9. He would do the Kyogo role. Like Richarlison would be doing the Kyogo role perfectly. He has the pace and the aggression to be able to run into the spaces, drag people away, but also he can get at the end of balls. Richarlison is an incredible header of the ball. He's and he's able to do all.
Yeah, Richie could get 10 goals next season playing the 9.
Playing the 9 absolutely easily, if not more. And so having Harry Kane playing in one of the advanced midfield positions makes way more sense to me. Setting Richie up, setting Sonny up, but also scoring plenty of goals of his own, especially if we do have the likes of Destiny Udogie crossing in from the left as Harry Kane makes those runs into the box. Like the team automatically as well, just in terms of like the ranking of players that are on the pitch, when you've got Sonny, Kane and Richarlison playing at the same time. Pedro Porro then playing out on the right, Udogie playing as a wing back. You just think and then if Bentancur comes back and Basuma is playing in that number 6, immediately you have an instantly like a much better looking a team than you would if you only brought Richarlison on to substitute, as a substitute for Kane, and then that midfield 3 looks an awful lot more ropey. Then, like I wouldn't play Højbjerg. If you play in the midfield, Kane, Basuma, Bentancur, that's like you would. That's a team. That is a midfield you can have faith in. Do you know what I mean?
Yeah, but Bentancur, presuming Bentancur's not going to be around for the first half of the season.
Yeah, so you play Højbjerg
as Kane.
Yeah. You play Højbjerg as his understudy for now, unless you sell Højbjerg and bring someone else in altogether. I would love to sell Højbjerg and bring in Cockchu, because I thought Cockchu was not going to stay
He's gone. He's moved to
Benfica, isn't he?
Benfica.
He's
Yeah,
moved to
Benfica. What a player he's got as well. What the Kochu's phenomenal. I think he's going to be
million euros they got him for.
I thought he
Yeah,
wasn't going to leave
incredible.
Feyenoord because Slot decided to stay, but then it turns out he was leaving anyway. I'm like, wow, why
Money
didn't we
talks.
go in for that? Yeah.
Of course they do.
Talks.
I'm
And
shocked
we
to win
could've paid
Benfica because Portugal ain't got loads of money.
We could have paid way more than Benfica for him. So, I don't understand why we
But
didn't.
listen, I'm always I'm on the premise of as long as if players want to go, like I don't want us just to sign players just because they're good prices. And I just want to touch. I think you flagged up just by the way from what Mike said. This is just on from what me and Alan were just discussing over on his channel earlier. Thank you. I hold my hands up. I told you it wasn't me that said it about Basuma. I've been the big Basuma advocate. Sorry, that was just a bit of a tangent. So thank you. It was Henry that said it, not me. Thank you very much. And just to sort of touch on what Adam said though, for me, if everyone keeps saying, "Oh, Harry Kane wouldn't mind playing like in that role." What if I'm Harry Kane? I'm sitting there going, "Sorry, I'm the only one that has a right at this football club to go. I will play here and play this way because he's proven it season after season." For me, I don't see where Kane would go, "Oh, yeah, I'm going to just change my position and play in midfield." I think he's sitting there going, no. I could go to Real Madrid and be their talisman. Why would I play in midfield at Tottenham? Does that make sense?
Well, I mean, there's plenty of reasons, to be fair. I mean, I think I get what you're saying. Like, you're entirely right that he could be thinking that way, but I just don't think it's black and white. I don't think that he goes, "Oh yeah, number 9, Real Madrid, 100%, no two ways about it." I think there's a degree to which Harry Kane, if he had the opportunity, if there was actual ambition at Spurs, he would love to be a one-team man. He loves Tottenham. He actually would love to win things at Tottenham.
I think balance there is at the moment, no?
No, I look, but him again. If he was sold the project and he was told that if he plays as the advanced number 8, he's still going to be scoring loads of goals per season, and the team will progress better with him playing there, like, you could sell it to him. So he gets to stay at Tottenham. He gets to stay in the Premier League where he's going to be going for, to beat Alan Shearer's record.
Yeah.
And then, like, those are the two principal things. But then if you can convince him as well that he can win trophies, you do need to convince him that he can win trophies. But
do you genuinely think that we are anywhere close enough winning trophies for Harry Kane to go, "Do you know what? I'm worth staying here"?
That'll depend on what project you sell him. That will depend on what project you sell him. Like, if you tell him, "Look, we are definitely going to buy."
He's not got long left. I think, let's be fair and obvious. He's probably got 5 years at maybe the top level, maybe 4. So what project are we going to say in the next 5 years that Spurs are going to be competing with the likes of Man City? Because I don't think
not for a Premier League. I'm not saying for Premier League, but you can definitely compete for a cup.
So we're not saying we're not going to be fighting at the top honours. So what we're talking about?
FA Cup is a top honour, man. FA Cup is a top honour.
No. But when we all talk about winning the Premier League is a top honour, Champions League's top honours. That's just the FA Cup. I think is a massive trophy. But my point being is, in context, is what I'm saying. The context in it. He could go to Real Madrid in the summer, whatever price.
Yeah, I'm not saying he'll return by that.
He could win Copa del Rey, La Liga, and the Champions League in the space of 2 or 3 years. We can't offer that. Let's be honest. In the next 5 years, we can't offer that. We have to be, as Spurs fans, very realistic. We can't offer that. So
no, I don't disagree at all.
And then, Mike, you don't agree?
No, I don't disagree. I was like,
whoa. But my point with this is that with Harry Kane, if I'm sat there and he walks in, and this is nothing on the manager, by the way. This is nothing on the manager, but I'm just sort of saying it from the context of it. If Harry Kane he walks in and the first thing he does, he speaks and he goes, "Harry, I want you to play centre midfield this season." He's sitting there going, if I'm him, I'm going, "Sorry, what? You want me playing centre midfield whilst I just scored 30 goals last season? I'm being linked with the teams like Real Madrid right now, and you want me to play centre mid?" Nothing against, by the way, this is nothing on the manager, by the way. Absolutely nothing on the manager, because I think the manager at the moment needs to instill his philosophy correctly.
I don't think it is a centre midfield role, though, the way that you're selling it.
Number 6.
So Sean has been describing it as a number 6 and 2 number 8s, right? But the way that I would look at it is it's a number 6, it's a number 8, and it's a number 10. Harry Kane would play in the 10. He just play you would come deep, but it's still the role behind the number 9.
My point being is why would he? Like Harry Kane has nothing to.
So for all the reasons that I mentioned. Because for all the reasons that I just mentioned, I think he'd rather. I think you're right. I think given the choice right now, if Levy said they've come in with a figure that I'm happy with, so do you want to go or do you want to stay? I'm sure he'd go. I'm just saying that.
Where?
To Real Madrid.
Real Madrid.
Only Real Madrid. I don't think he goes overseas. I don't think he goes anywhere else overseas.
Real Madrid, Sean.
No, anywhere apart from Real Madrid. Real Madrid's the only one. I don't think he'd go to. I don't think Bayern Munich would if Bayern Munich wanted him. I don't think that's sexy enough to give up, like to disrupt things. I don't think Paris Saint-Germain is a draw for him. I think Real Madrid, maybe Barcelona, but they don't need him. So
yeah, Barcelona, they've got Lewandowski, so that's off the cards. But I sit back and I go, if Bayern Munich came in and offered and he rejected it, I'm sitting there going, what? It's Bayern Munich. I know what you're saying. I get it's not glamorous, but Bayern Munich. Like,
no.
I just think that it's he doesn't want to. He said himself many times he doesn't want to go overseas. He said he doesn't want to go overseas, right? So I think that
Real Madrid is the only draw. I wouldn't even, if I were him, I wouldn't even go to back. Like I would find it so like Harry Kane is not showing that he's at something special by going over to Bayern Munich and winning the Bundesliga because they're winning the Bundesliga without him anyway. Bayern Munich are going to win the Bundesliga next season regardless.
But that's not the question we're talking about here. That's not about if they're going to win it or not. But like Harry Kane needs to prove himself. I think he needs to prove himself on the absolute top stage. Nothing again. I love him, by the way. He
could still win his. I do think like I used to present this argument, and I've kind of been convinced by a few people. I was like, I think that when you add up the fact that he doesn't want to go, or at least he said he doesn't want to go abroad, and then you think, well, he's sacrificing the Premier League record, which I think might not be as important as some people think it is, but I think it is important when you spent 14 years chasing it down. I know that a record can be broken, but a trophy can't be taken away.
A couple of seasons after him.
I know, I get it, but I still think it's something he wants. But I was like, when you think about the timeline, he's 2 seasons away from doing that. Like, if he wants to go to Manchester United and Daniel Levy says no way, he could run down his contract, but by then Manchester United would have gone in a different direction. I was trying to find like a loophole in the story where, in the end, Harry Kane could be forced to sign a contract that's at Tottenham. But now that it's been kind of presented to me, actually, he could go to Real Madrid for 2-3 years, win everything he needs to win there, and then still come back at 33 years old and come back to Tottenham or go somewhere else in the Premier League and still get the record.
The way Real Madrid operate as well, it wouldn't. This is what you said. It kind of makes sense. I could see him going to Real Madrid for 2 or 3 years, and then what they go and do is they go and sign Mbappe. They just upgrade. That unfortunately is that is the beast of Real Madrid. They'll just upgrade. And then but I just think at the moment, because it's Harry Kane, Spurs fans are doing as many mental gymnastics as they can to try and think of a way why staying at Spurs is an ideal draw. I'm not saying you guys on here, by the way. I'm just saying in general.
No. I'm happy to hold my hands up. Like I've done a video trying to justify it. And I thought I had a logical argument, but then it was kind of made more sense to go, actually, he could go win his trophies and he's still got time to come back after he's got his trophies and still hit the record and finish his career at Tottenham. He can come back in 3 years' time.
I think so many people make the record of what I think the way that the record is, I think it's blown up into something because he's so close to it. Is my thought because he's so close.
I disagree that it's not a big deal. I think it is a big deal. I genuinely think that people, even though Alan Shearer won something at Blackburn Rovers, I don't think people remember Alan Shearer because of the like. No one remembers Chris Sutton. People remember Alan Shearer because of the goals he scored at Newcastle.
I don't think it's about remembering. I think it's And I was just on Alan's show, so big up to Alan, by the way. Big shout out to him, mate. I was just on the show, and I made a really good point about this. Really good point.
says yourself.
No, I think it was a great point, and it's let's just say, hear me out. In I don't know, in 15 years' time, it's FA Cup final, Spurs versus Leicester. And they bring in the pundits, and there's Harry Kane and Jamie Vardy sat next to each other. They're sat next to each other. And then when they put their little banner that comes up, and it comes up with Jamie Vardy, Premier League and FA Cup winner, and then put the years next to it. And then Harry Kane's top goal scorer in the Premier League. He must sit back and think, I could have easily gone somewhere and won absolutely everything. And my name could have been blasted with 3-time Champions League winner, blah, 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 Premier League winner twice, X, Y, and Z. I think at that time he will sit back and regret not going at the right time.
Maybe. I think he will go. But I'm not sure it has to be now. The other way you could structure the argument is to say, he signs a new contract at Tottenham with a 2-year extension, right? So, but it's embedded with a 70 million or 80 million buyout clause, right? So that he can stay at Tottenham, get his contract, and still go. I don't know.
But just someone just put in Mike Cleese there. No one mentions that Kane being a family man. I'm sorry. I said this on Savage show. The family man comment really bothers me, because I sit there and go, think about all the players that come into this league, into the Premier League. Loads of them come in. Elite players come into them. We never hear that conversation about them, their families that are being moved over from, I don't know, Germany, France, Spain, Italy. We don't hear about that. We never hear that conversation. Like,
but that doesn't mean that that's not important. Like, everyone's individual, aren't they? It could be important. It could be important to Harry Kane. It could be very important to Harry Kane. Like, we're listening to James Maddison. The rumours that James Maddison would rather pick Tottenham over Newcastle, and the primary reason that he's sacrificing the primary reason he's sacrificing Newcastle when everything they've got to offer is because his wife wants to live in London. Like, it depends on who you are as a person and what is important to you, and who's pulling the strings in the relationship. And maybe Harry Kane's wife doesn't want to move away from her family or something, you know?
I get all that, but there's got to be a mutual understanding. The player and the family must know this stuff is happening behind the scenes. Then they're not just going click of a finger going, oh, by the way, like, we're going to we might be going to Madrid because of this. Like, there have been talks about it before, of course, but like. Exactly, but Tom. But the point is it's not necessarily about what we all talk about. Darren Fletcher, I tell you what, I bet he's got him a massive trophy cabinet in his home with all of his medals. The thing is I'm more talking about it from Harry Kane's perspective than I'm talking about it from all of us. Listen, if it was me, I'd have Harry Kane staying and he'd retire at Spurs. That's my point. I love him. One favourite player I've ever seen at Tottenham Hotspur by a mile. But I think we have to just sit back and think about it. Look, Ed, you're missing the point. It's not about who's the better player. We know Harry Kane is a better player, but Jamie Vardy has won more than Harry Kane. This is my point. This is. I
get it, mate. Listen, look, it's an interesting. Obviously, everyone's got their own takes on it. Like, me personally, I think there's as much chance. If I was a betting man, and I am for my sins, not that there is a market on whether Harry Kane is going to stay or go. I haven't seen that on Betfair, but I think it's 50-50 right now. I don't know right now. I could imagine I could just as easily see Harry Kane signing a new contract at Tottenham.
Of course, I agree.
As I could him moving to Real Madrid. Like, any one of the options is potentially possible and plausible.
I think it'll be one of the other, Sean. I think it's one of the other. I think if the right money comes in for him, we sell. If we don't, I think Harry Kane will probably end up signing a new contract. I think it'll be one of the two. Well, there you go. Saliba signed a 6-year contract in Arsenal, and that just that says a lot, man. He's a very good player.
So let's round off the conversation then, guys. We're going to wrap it up we're going to finish by like the next 5 minutes or so. But so we're thinking that we don't know what's going to happen with Harry Kane. I think none of us know what's going to happen with Harry Kane. It sounds like, Adam, if he does stay in a world where he is playing for Tottenham next season, you'd like to see him play in one of what you say is the 10. People in the comments were saying it's more he could play as a false 9 under the Postecoglou system. There's loads of space for that. Would you be happy, guys, if Kyogo Furuhashi was brought into the club, would you be excited about this guy?
100%.
Yeah.
Yes, because of I think yes, because of the financial restrictions. I think we ideally I'd rather Erasmus Højlund, to be honest. But but just the fact that
isn't he going to Man United, if I'm right in saying?
Possibly, yeah. If they don't get Harry Kane, which they likely won't, then they're going to go for a Højlund or for Vlahovic. But this is what I'm saying. Like, he's obviously really sought after. He's incredible. But given that we're on a budget and we've got bigger fish to fry than trying to sort out our front line. Kyogo. I mean, you certainly wouldn't turn your nose up to him. The only problem is though he's 28. So
yeah, he's not young, is he? He's been around now. Around.
And Richarlison, even if Kyogo comes in, he'd be playing second fiddle to Richarlison. He's not going to be our first team starter because we've got a number 9.
Yeah. Well, I'm not a fan of Richarlison, but I actually genuinely do think that he could have a good season next year.
I think if we get it right with him, I think however much I'm on your boat there, Sean, about him, but I think the money that we spent, we have to try and get something out of him. If not, it is an absolute shambles of a signing.
Yeah. Dave, love you, man. Big up. I'm not suggesting that Harry Kane can't play the system. I think he can play to any system. It's just whether I think my question mark is really when you look at the specifics of the Postecoglou system at Celtic, if he wants to recreate it to a T, then my question mark is whether or not what's required of the 9 under the POS system. I don't know whether I'm sure Harry Kane can do it. Of course, he can do anything he wants. The guy's Superman. I just mean whether he would want to do it, whether he'd want to do all that sort of effort rather than be positioned into a different place where he can be more involved in the build-up play rather than just getting on the end of it. Time will tell, guys. It's fascinating. This summer's going to be one of the most fun summers, I think, for Tottenham fans. Lots of streaming to come. There's been 400 to 500 of you guys in the house the entire way. Smash the like button for me, guys. One last time. I'm not going to ask you again. I really appreciate it. It helps the algorithm. Also, smash the subscribe button to join us. Also, get over to the Perchy TV to hit the subscribe over there. Thank you so much, Perchy. I'm going to come away from
700, please.
What are you away from?
32 away from 700.
32 away. Let me go and get the link. Hang on a second.
You're a legend.
Right now. The Perchy TV. Where are you? Perchy TV. There's someone called the Perch TV as well.
Oh, there is the Perch. He's a fisherman. I watched his channel. I accidentally tagged him in a thing I put on Twitter the other day. And everyone was going, I didn't know you were doing fishing.
There you go, guys. If everyone, there's 400 of you here, if even 100 of you could just click on that link, it doesn't take you away from the stream. Click on this link and just go and smash the subscribe button to Perchy TV. It will really help him out. Would really appreciate that for him. Also, get over to Alex Box Office THFC. Let me get the link for that as well whilst I'm doing it. Alex Box Office TV. Here we go. Help this man out as well because he's been talking about these videos that he's going to be doing. He keeps talking about them.
And I've been waiting and waiting. Overtake Box Office as well.
Well, you can overtake them, guys, but if you also want to go and help him out as well, Box Office is down there.
He's an absolute legend. Lovely.
You know, Football Heritage TV. Do I need to get that as well? I probably should, but I'm sure you've all subscribed to him already. Who else was on the show? Was that it? That was it, wasn't it?
Yeah, I believe it was when I came on. There was definitely 5.
There's 5 of us, yeah. Last but by no means least, guys, get over and if you haven't already, subscribed to Sava and his channel, Football Heritage TV. Guys, we're going to leave it there. Please, sorry, 1 second. Thank you so much to everyone who put the super chats in. Frankly, Tottenham, Paul Markey, Quadwo Boateng, Paul Markey, Kaz from MUFC. Oh, I forgot this one from Never a Foul, which is also Kaz. He says, one day Sean will take notes of my text messages. I have seen your text messages, mate, and I have hit the redirect button. Guys, in 30 minutes time, there's a really good show that's about to kick off on Never a Foul. I encourage you guys to get over there and subscribe to them. Brilliant team over there. There's Man United fans, there's Man City fans, there's Inter Milan fans. They all get together and they talk about everything that is going on. The last thing I'm going to ask you, Adam and Perchy, is the Champions League final tonight. Prediction, scoreline. Does Man City get the treble or does Inter Milan steal it? And how are we going to be thinking about that tomorrow morning? What's the scoreline for Man City, Inter? I'll start with you, Adam.
I will be over having a great night watching it with my uncle and family this evening. I am really, really hoping for an Inter Milan win, but it's not what I think will happen. I can't stand Man City. They drive me absolutely crazy. I hate when money ruins football. Man City are the epitome of it. I really hope that in the next couple of years we're going to see them get absolutely, held over the flames. With regards to the way that they've been dodging financial fair play. I hope they have all of their trophies stolen from them. So I think regardless of whether they win tonight or not, then they'll probably get fleeced from them at some point anyway. But I just can't stand to see money ruin football the way that it has. So I'm hoping for an Inter Milan win, but I reckon it's going to be like Inter Milan are playing so incredibly well at the moment. I think they will give City a run for their money. I think it'll be a really exciting, interesting game. I think they'll do better than Real Madrid, but I still think Man City are going to win it. I reckon it'll be a high-scoring game, probably something like a 3-2 to Man City.
Awesome, good one then. That'd be nice. Be a nice one to see. I'd like it to be a close game. I don't want it to be a one-sided, sort of bulldozing. Perch, what's your prediction for the game, mate?
I think Man City are going to walk it. If I'm honest, I think they're walking this comfortably. I think they'll win 3-0. It'll be game over by 60 minutes. I think I just think, this Man City team, whether people like it or not, I think are just on a different level at the moment. So I think they're walking it.
Yeah, I agree. All right, guys, that is your Saturday show for you. Thank you so much. Get over to Never a Foul in half an hour for their preview. I think they're doing a preview of the game, but alongside of everything else they talk about. Love you all. Like, subscribe, and comment on your way out of the door. And as always, guys, in Ange we trust.
In Ange.
Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.